Hello and welcome to the full story of the Fighters Guild in Oblivion, a tale of a failing family's attempt to revitalise Cyrodiil's flailing Fighters Guild as we the player rise through its ranks, contending with a cutthroat rival faction and explore their dirty secrets along the way. But first, it's probably prudent to ask and answer, what is the Fighters Guild and how does one even join its ranks? Plus, a rare treat for players is the little known and I dare say idiotic way to be permanently banned from the guild in the game.
That the best you can do?
Starting off with a brief history of the faction, found in the book History of the Fighters Guild. The Fighters Guild was formed to combat rising crime rates across the lands. It was originally intended to be a guild for Akaviri races only, but since there were not enough of them to keep order, it was opened to non-Akaviri members as well. Guild halls then became established in most cities at the start of the Third Era in Cyrodiil, thanks to the influence of Uriel I, and now the guild can take on a contract from any citizen, provided it does not...
I understand the Fighters Guild is hiring new members. Not bad work for some folks.
How to join the Fighters Guild. To do so, we'll learn. When resting from our travels around Cyrodiil, we can hear rumours of the famed Fighters Guild being one of 5 main guild factions available to the player, and, for budding adventurers, the allure of joining, as various NPCs will comment.
The Fighters Guild is recruiting again. Not a bad way to make some money, if you've got the stones for it.
There's more gold in arena fighting, sure, but contracting with the guild is safer and more respectable.
Anyone looking for work should consider the Fighters Guild. I hear they're always looking for recruits.
To further entice you to join, the developers created the publication A New Guild for Fighters, which can be found with any newspaper courier and is widely available around Cyrodiil, reading:
The Fighters Guild has been an institution in Tamriel for as long as most anyone can remember. These brave men and women have, for countless years, always been available to do those jobs that the average citizen is simply not qualified to handle. Whether it be ridding a homeowner of a plague of rats or rescuing a wayward scholar, the Fighters Guild has always been available for anyone with enough coin to pay their modest fees. Now, however, it seems that the Fighters Guild is not the only game in town. A new group has recently been making a lot of waves in Cyrodiil. They call themselves the Blackwood Company, and have let it be known that they'll handle any job that the Fighters Guild will, and many that they won't. While the Fighters Guild has always maintained the strictest standards on both the quality of their members and the legality of the contracts they accept, the Blackwood Company makes none of the same claims. They have no screening process when accepting new members, and they seem willing to accept any contract, assuming one can afford the price tag. Some have questioned the Blackwood Company's methods. They are rumored to be reckless and indiscriminate. Many have spoken of needless damage to person and property during the fulfillment of a contract. None of those we spoke to were willing to go on the record for this article. What the future holds for this upstart group remains to be seen. Are they the perfect solution for a quickly changing world? Will their methods force the Fighters Guild to adopt more lenient business practices? Only time will tell. Until then, if you need a job done, and the Fighters Guild won't do it, check with your local Blackwood Company.
We also hear further rumours of this troublesome competitor being the Blackwood Company that has mysteriously popped up in Leyawen.
I understand that the Blackwood Company works cheaper than the Fighters Guild, and they'll do any job. Rumor has it that the Fighters Guild is losing members to the Blackwood Company.
If we were inclined instead to throw our lot in with this new upstart, we can find the purportedly dubious Blackwood Company's headquarters in the swampy city of Leyawen, a stone's throw, no less, from the Fighters Guild Hall marked by an emblem of two weapons crossed over a large tree. When entering the establishment and looking for work, our presence is tolerated. However, we're never offered to join the ranks of the many beast folk that inhabit the stone fortress. Nor are we allowed to explore the guild hall fully, as an Argonian guard stands firmly between us and the Blackwood basement. Later, though, we shall explore the validity of the scurrilous rumours aimed against the clandestine Blackwood Company, and how, if at all it's possible, an Imperial such as ourselves would ever be permitted to join their ranks during the Fighters Guild questline as the story continues.
It's you. Hi.
For now, we instead head to the Fighters Guild Hall across the street. It should be noted, the guild halls themselves are usually constructed in the aesthetic of the local town. However, they are always multi-story dwellings, presumably to house their large forces, and are easy to spot streetside thanks to the red banner with a blade on it, and sign bearing two crossed swords behind a shield mounted on an almost homemade-looking wooden sign hanging above the entrance, perhaps to let prospective members know the Fighters Guild is in the business of killing and gold, not wasted on superfluous signage. Entering the large door, we're met inside by a host of current guild members looking to hone their martial skills and, of course, make some coin. When chatting between themselves, we can overhear.
You heard about any new contracts? They'd tell us, wouldn't they? Was Vigdis our most recent recruit? Or Lindsay Loram? It's been so long, I forgot. I guess I could have been an adventurer, but I like sleeping in a bed.
Clearly, this Blackwood Company is an ever-growing threat to the Fighters Guild's standing. Though joining the guild does possess its own perks, such as free bed to sleep in, skill trainers that will not provide training unless you're a member, and, upon joining, almost any item found in the guild is yours for the taking without penalty. However, before we are deterred, we then see a friendly guild porter dressed in a remarkably generic heavy steel armor plate set versus their aforementioned rival, who greets.
Hail! We're looking for recruits. Interested?
Sure. How would I go about joining?
If you're interested, see Velena Daunton in Coral, or Azan in Anvil, or Burrs Grokash in Shadenhall.
Following the porter's directions, although there are Fighters Guild halls in every city except Kavach and the Imperial City,
Be seeing you.
we find indeed we can only sign up in 3 locales. Either in Anvil, where once inside, the head of the chapter, the Red Guard Azan, greets.
What have we here? I'm Azan, head of the Anvil Fighters Guild chapter, and advanced blunt weapons trainer.
Why do you recommend joining?
I love being in the guild. There's money to be made. If you'd like to join up, let me know. Training, beds, and good hard work. Can't beat it.
Or Chadenhall, where we can talk to its Orc Guardian, Bursgrove Cash, who questions.
Looking for action? Think about the Fighters Guild. What do you want, a job? If you want it from me, you'll have to join the Fighters Guild. Not that I'm sure you can cut it.
Why do you recommend the Fighters Guild?
I love being in the guild. There's money to be made. If you'd like to join up, let me know.
Or Coral, where we find ourselves at the guild's headquarters, and the stern Breton and guildmaster, Velena Daunton, acknowledges us from behind her desk.
Go ahead, I'm listening. Velena Daunton, Master of the Fighters Guild. Please excuse the mess. Paperwork. But what can I do for you?
I was looking to learn more about the Fighters Guild, as I'm thinking of joining.
The Fighters Guild is a brotherhood of warriors. We provide a service to Tamriel, lending steel and shield to those who need our help. Whether that means ridding a town of an invading menace or protecting a helpless mage, we'll take the contract.
If we then state, I wish to join the Fighters Guild, Daunton then warns.
The Fighters Guild is always looking for new members. If you've got a clean record and don't have a bounty on your head, we may be able to use you. Are you interested in joining?
As warned, if we attempt to join the Fighters Guild with a bounty, she'll simply state.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, but you've got a bit of a bad reputation. Make a better name for yourself and perhaps we can accept your application.
And it's worth noting, it is also a good idea to join the Fighters Guild early in the game if you plan to play an evil character, because they do not allow characters with infamy scores over 100 to join unless you have a fame score over 100 as well, as attempting to join with high infamy, Velena admits.
We appreciate your interest, but I understand you've got a bounty on your head. Take care of that and we'll consider your application.
However, if with a clean record and pep in our step we tell Velena, sign me up, she says.
Excellent. You are now an associate in the Fighters Guild. You should report to either Azan in Anvil or Burz Grokash in Shadenel for contracts.
Before departing, we inquire, by the way, is there any chance of advancement in the guild?
You will advance through the ranks of the Fighters Guild when you have proven your merit. As you complete contracts and fulfill your duties, you'll be promoted to the next station, accepting the associated duties and responsibilities. Be aware, though, that your rank can be stripped for failure to uphold the tenets of the guild or at my discretion. Just do your job.
So now that we're part of the coveted Fighters Guild, before we look at ways to get paid promised contracts and advancement, we shall instead first look at getting ourselves banned for life as promised at the start of the video. Now, there are 3 distinct ways we can get kicked out of the Fighters Guild, with the cost to our reputation and punishment escalating each time.
Hello.
The first is to be caught stealing from another guild member, after which we'll be immediately and forcefully ejected from the guild premises. Upon re-entry, no member will speak to us except angrily guide, as Dark Elf champion Modron Orion spits.
It's you. Hi. You've stolen from the Fighters Guild. Go speak with Velena Daunton. None of your brothers will deal with you until you atone for your actions.
Speaking to Velena, she then turns to us disappointedly, questioning.
You would steal from your brothers? If you had a need for something, why would you not just ask? I will give you a chance, though. As it is only your first offence, do not return until you have collected 20 bear pelts. Use this time to reflect on your actions.
Trying to negotiate, she dismisses.
You've been told what you must do in order to regain your standing, and you've not yet done it. Don't return until you have 20 bear pelts.
We now must procure a hefty 20 bear pelts, but there is a catch. The weaker black bears appear randomly only starting at level 9 in most places or level 7 along the roads, though many general merchants also have an infinite supply of bear pelts, therefore making them easier to source through commerce. After completing the arduous task of collecting 20 pelts, we can then speak to a waiting Velena who appraises.
So, you've collected the pelts. I trust you've learned a lesson. Your rank is restored along with all rights and responsibilities.
2. Daunton, prematurely assessing we have learned our lesson, then witnesses us maim a local porter for getting in our face.
Hellfire! I'm being attacked! I fought mud crabs more fearsome than you.
That the best you can do?
Committing the second more heinous crime, we're once again ejected from the hall, and upon returning, the guild's champion Modron Orion then hisses.
You've committed yet another crime against your Fighters Guild brothers. Go speak with Daunton. Until then, goodbye.
Entering her office, Velena flatly assesses.
First a theft and now a murder. Your crimes are escalating. You have one final chance. Go out and collect the horns of 20 minotaurs. If you succeed, perhaps you'll have learned something in that time. If you fail, perhaps you'll be dead and no longer our problem. Now go.
Attempting to speak to Daunton about these horns, she spins on us, saying,
Don't speak to me again unless you've gotten 20 minotaur horns. Then perhaps we'll have something to discuss.
In order to get back into the guild a second time, we'll need 20 minotaur horns. Minotaur horns are somewhat harder to find or buy, and like bear pelts are somewhat level gated. You can get them from killing minotaurs in the wild, beginning at level 12 as bosses or 14 as general enemies, and you can also fight them in the arena after becoming Grand Champion. Returning to the Guildmaster, finally, after collecting 20 horns, would then net.
You've brought back the horns. Your rank and responsibilities are restored. There will be no further chances given you.
So, what is the third and final way to get expelled for good? Well, if we're not a stellar human being or guild member, and enraged enough, we can decide to beat our horse to death to let out some anger. I know it's reprehensible and the guild thinks so as well. As we'd stumble upon the fact, killing your horse is a bannable offence. Returning to the hall, Modern Orion then jeers.
What hole did you crawl out of? None in the Fighters Guild will speak with you again. We have no desire to consort with common criminals.
Despite the caution, we ascend the stairs to Velena Donton's office, a final time to be cast out.
Why do you bother me? Go away. By your crimes, you have been permanently expelled from the Fighters Guild. You have no further chance to atone for your actions. All guild members have been instructed to deny you service, shelter, and assistance. From now until your death, you do not exist in our eyes.
Upon exiting, we note in our journal, because of my crimes against the Fighters Guild, I've been permanently expelled. A sad state of affairs, though it's nice to say Oblivion is still not afraid
Leave me alone!
to kick you out of a guild. Having said that, we shall explore in the next episode, seeing as we've just gone through how to join and to be kicked out, and rise through the Fighters Guild ranks as we begin to take on contracts to aid the citizens of Cyrodiil, as the full story of the Fighters Guild continues. To begin the first Fighters Guild quest, titled A Rat Problem, we find ourselves in the seaside city of Anvil, making our way to the sizable Fighters Guild Hall, a stone's throw from the North Gate. And it should quickly be noted that we shall be following the quest flowchart provided by the unofficial wiki, which provides an easy-to-follow path through the multiple ways to navigate the Fighters Guild questline. Once inside the hall, we see the Red Guard Knight, Azan in full plate, hacking at a training dummy with a two-handed axe, and he turns to greet.
I'm Azan, head of the Anvil Fighters Guild chapter, and advanced blunt weapons trainer.
Hail. Velena Donton told me that you'd have a contract for me.
A contract for you? I think I've got something that suits your experience. Arvina Phyllis has some problem with rats in her house.
I'm sorry. Did you say rats? Surely there's some mistake.
Yes, rats. I'm sure she can explain it to you better than I. She lives here in Anvil. Go and talk to her. Good luck. Go take care of the rats, then talk to me.
Being waved away by the Guildmaster, we're more than a little concerned. Our first task for the guild is hunting down vermin, and the other guild members around the hall can be heard commenting.
Another rat job? Not me, no thanks. Let the bottom boot do the rats. Unless you want the gig.
This must be some initiation trial. Although ostensibly rat extermination seems a laughably easy quest to complete, rat catching and the Fighters Guild have an extensive history in the games, and deceptively holds multiple endings we shall explore in succession, including A. Finishing the quest as intended, B. Betraying the contract giver for a different reward, and C. Outright failing our first quest for the Fighters Guild and the consequences for our dishonourable action. But first, to begin the quest, exiting the guild hall, our quest updates. Azan has told me of a contract in Anvil with Arvina Phyllis. I should speak to her about a problem with rats in her basement. Heading up Anvil's cobble path, we find the second building to our right to be Thelis's abode, looking for any entry points for rats. As to make quick work of this lowly assignment, we head around the back of the abode and find that something or someone has busted through the wall. No rat we've ever seen could have done this much damage. looks like we're going to have to talk to Arvina. Knocking on the door. It appears nobody's home. Letting ourselves in, we light a torch to see around the 2-story house. The bottom floor contains a sizable living room and reading area, holding many foodstuffs left out in the open. If there's one thing we know about rats, it's they would probably eat this food as soon as this Arvina goes to bed. Strange if they've made their way through the back of the building. They haven't torn their way through the basement door. Ascending the stairs to our left, we move through a small sitting room and into Arvina's bedroom. It's there we find an aging dark elf who exclaims,
"Oh, my poor little rats!"
Arvina Thelis, I've been sent to help. Did you say poor rats?
Ah, you must be from the Fighters Guild. Good, I have a problem. It has to do with the rats in my basement.
Yes, I'm here to take care of the rats in the basement.
That's right. Rats in my basement, and something's been killing them. It's horrible. My poor babies. You must do something. I don't know what I'd do without them. Their little pink noses, their scaly little tails. Please get to the basement and find out what's happening.
Wait, you keep vermin in your basement? As pets? I bet your neighbors love you.
You can't imagine the fuss some people make. My rats are no problem for anyone. Please save my little rats.
And to think, we thought ourselves the exterminator, but are now on rat-saving duty. Avina's questionable love of the furry rodents is a topic of discussion and disgust among the townsfolk, as they can be heard saying.
Arvina Thelis is an odd one. I've heard some strange noises coming from her basement.
She's a nut. Whatever's going on in that house, I don't want to know about it.
That woman is a bit off-kilter. I don't even want to know what she's got in her basement.
Looking around Avina's open-plan bedroom, we see valuables and trinkets lying around, but know that we would be ejected from the Fighters Guild if we stole from her. Thinking it best to keep our hands to ourselves if we want to stay in the Fighters Guild, we make our way to the basement and note in our journal. Arvina Thelis has rats in her basement, but they're not the problem. She loves the rats, but she's finding them dead. She would like me to go down and investigate what's been happening. Which brings us to the basement itself. Waltzing down to the basement, torch lit, we hear a commotion and find the rats being attacked by a mountain lion. Now, just to be clear, at lower levels and higher difficulties, this mountain lion is starving and an exceptional predator and should not be underestimated. Otherwise, creeping down to the basement, torch doused and sword in hand, we attack the starving mountain lion, opening its belly before it can get its fill of rat or man alike. Our quest then updates. I've killed a mountain lion in Arvina Thelis' basement. They must be sneaking in through a hole in the wall somewhere. I should tell Arvina what has happened. Indeed, just as we had suspected, we head over to the northwestern part of the room and see a hole in the wall is busted wide open. The boards don't look too firmly secured, and perhaps the mountain lion smelled the rats and clawed its way in. Whatever the case, it's taken care of now, and the rats are free to frolic around their sizable sanctuary in the basement, complete with tomatoes, leeks, water, and an extremely generous amount of cheese. Heading back upstairs, noting in our journal, I've killed a mountain lion in Arvina Thelis' basement. They must be sneaking in through a hole in the wall somewhere. I should tell Arvina what has happened.
Oh, my poor little rats. Well, what have you found? Did you take care of my babies? What was going on down there?
Look, it seems that there was a hole in the wall in your basement and a mountain lion had wriggled its way in. It was pretty tough, but it's taken care of now.
A mountain lion? In my basement? But how? That's not possible. But it happened. What if there are more? What if it wasn't alone? Where there's one, there will be more. Find Pinnerus Inventius. He's a hunter and knows this area inside and out. He'll know what to do. Please, go find Pinnerus and those mountain lions.
Well, I don't think there's any more mountain lions. But seeing as you're paying, I'll go see the guildmaster, see what he says. Exiting Thelus's abode, we note in our journal, Avina Thelus was glad to know what was killing her rats, but she still doesn't feel safe. She'd like me to speak with Pinnerus Inventius about hunting down mountain lions in the area. Heading back to the guild hall, Azan seems adamant that we still help Avina past our original commission.
You need to help Arvina Thelus with her rat problem. What's on your mind?
Well, the problem is, we went to Avina's house. She said she had a rat problem, but it turns out it was a mountain lion. We killed the mountain lion because the rats are her pets. Now she wants us to exterminate all mountain lions in the area. When's it going to end?
Go take care of the rats, then talk to me.
As Azan, dedicated to his training, hacks at the dummy, we quickly realize he didn't hear a word we said. And so, dejected. It seems we have no choice but to exterminate all of the mountain lions in the area with the help of this Pinnerus Inventius. However, finding this huntsman Pinnerus Inventius is not as easy as we first thought, although when heading to the Count's Arm Inn, the locals will gossip.
I saw that Pinnerus Inventius was out hunting again. He can shoot a bird on the wing without really trying. Pinnerus Inventius is quite the hunter. He can track about anything, and he's deadly with his bow.
You could learn a lot from Pinnerus.
It's only when heading to the south of town and searching the docks, looking at a large lighthouse, which definitely doesn't hold an ominous secret of the Dark Brotherhood, which we explore in the full video linked at the end of this one, do we find an elderly Imperial woman who's violently painting said lighthouse as if she's angry. Speaking to her, she greets,
Astia Inventius, wife of the woodsman Pinnerus Inventius. Always out hunting. Anything to avoid doing a little work around the house.
Ah, you're Inventius's wife. I've heard good things about him and his hunting. You're not a fan, I take it?
Well, if you don't mind scruffy sailors smelling like bilge, it's a lovely town. The men are all the same, drunk and shiftless.
Now, the reason that Astia Inventius is so mad at Pinnerus, which we shall explore further once we find the huntsman. After sharing that Pinnerus can be found out by the North Gate during the day, Astia then shares of our Dark Elf quest giver.
Arvina Thelus is an odd one. I've heard some strange noises coming from her basement. Good day.
Making our way out of Anvil's North Gate during the gloom of a foggy afternoon, we locate an older Imperial huntsman holding a fur shield and in iron armor and question. Pinnerus Inventius, I take it.
Pinnerus Inventius, hunter, woodsman, and marksman at your service.
Funnily enough, even though he introduces himself as a marksman, he doesn't possess a bow and arrow, which we shall also discuss soon enough. However, for now, we question, what animals do you hunt locally around the city?
Plenty of deer, wolf, boar, mountain lion, bear in the county. Just need to know where to look for them.
There's been a mountain lion spotted in somebody's house inside the city walls. Avina Thelus sent me to request your aid in exterminating them before they attack our rats some more.
Mountain lions? Here? Odd. If they're around, I can find them. Come with me. A hunt will do us good and maybe make that old nut feel better. Let's go hunting.
Heading west up the Gold Road, Pinnerus begins to march up the path. If we stop him to say, where exactly are we heading? He simply responds,
Let's see if we can't find those mountain lions. Let's go hunting.
Seeing as Inventius doesn't possess a bow and arrow, we equip our own as backup for the Imperial, and a Black Horse courier approaches on horse to compliment.
You have the eyes of a trained marksman.
Well, one of us has to, and old Treacherous looks like he's lost his bow. Following along, we note in our journal. Treacherous has agreed to look for mountain lions with me. If we find them, we'll kill them and make Arvina feel safer. Dousing our torch and begin to stalk behind the Imperial as he does a sharp turn to his left and then beckons.
If they're out here, they'll be in this area. I can't imagine there are more than 4 of them. Let's take care of this.
Notching an arrow, we then spy in the distance a few mountain lions loitering in an alcove, and as we loose an arrow, Treacherous, to his credit, meets them in open combat.
Damn you! This ends here!
With all of the mountain lions dead, Inventius approaches to update.
I think that'll be all of them. Can't imagine more in this area. You can go tell Arvina this is all taken care of. Good hunting.
Looking at Treacherous's poor arm as we've winged him with an arrow, the tough old Imperial just instructs.
Better go talk to old Arvina.
Speaking of Treacherous getting winged, let's talk about his missing bow and why his wife was in such a sore state. See, Treacherous had been rather naughty, finding himself entangled in another of Anvil's more salacious quests titled The Siren's Deception, which we covered the tale on the channel and will be linked at the end of this video. Unfortunately, during said quest, we learn Treacherous was unfaithful to his wife and became a victim of the clever local Sirens gang, though he never appeared to have reported the robbery to the Anvil City Watch. Now, we can find items that were stolen off him at the Sirens' hideout, Gweden Farm, including his wife's necklace, his iron cuirass, his shirt, and his prized Minotaur horn. Though there's no way to give them back to him, perhaps one of the gals had already hocked his prized bow during their crime spree, hence why he decided to use a sword on the mountain lions. That sordid tale aside, as the huntsman begins to skin all of the mountain lions for their pelts as recompense for his aid, we find in the south corner of their den a skeleton of a poor townsman, no doubt being consumed by the mountain lions. But all of the available food sources nearby, and their ability to fell a human easily, why was the mountain lion starving that was found inside the city walls? With our duty done, we head back to Anvil, a note in our journal. We've killed all the mountain lions Treacherous believes are in the area. I should return to Arvina Thelis. Inside her bedroom where we left her, the Dark Elf fusses.
Oh, my poor little rats. You've got to take care of those mountain lions.
Listen, don't worry. I've taken care of all of the mountain lions. Treacherous and Inventius helped me exterminate all of them. Again, there are no more mountain lions in or around Anvil, okay?
You think you've gotten rid of them all? You do? Well, you haven't. There's one in my basement right now. Go get it.
What? Where? Stunned at the revelation. Our quest updates. I've told Arvina about the mountain lions, but she doesn't believe her problem is solved, as there's a mountain lion in her basement now. I'll have to kill it. Inside the basement, we learn from our excursion with Treacherous and equip our bow, silently stalking our way down the steps and find, indeed, a mountain lion is attempting to eat the poor rats. Losing a single arrow, the mountain lion lay dead. And concerningly, Arvina was right. Making our way back to the Dark Elf's bedroom, Arvina becomes overcome with panic.
Like the gods, you killed that thing. This is ridiculous. Someone's out to get me, to get my poor babies. I'll bet it's that Quillweave next door.
Quillweave? You mean the Argonian? Isn't she an author? Why would she want your rats dead?
She's the one. She's never liked me or my sweet little pets. I know it's her. I've even seen her sneaking around in back of my house at night. She thinks she's so smart. She and all the other women. I'll show her. I want you to keep an eye on her. Find out what she's up to.
As the plot becomes more complicated, we're sent on an errand to find this Quillweave, a note in our journal. Avina now believes that her neighbour Quillweave might be responsible. Avina has seen her sneaking around outside the house at night. I should watch Quillweave and see what she's doing. I should not let Quillweave see me, though, lest she gets suspicious. Making our way to Quillweave's home next to the Count's Arms, we bump into the Argonian chatting with a local guard. She then turns to admire.
Goodbye. Bye.
Hello.
Look at the muscles on you. My name's Quillweave. I've had some success selling stories about the lives of the lower and criminal classes.
As she has confirmed her vocation, this is a good time to note Quillweave is a well-known author, although she has no publishings in-game. The residents of Anvil, however, may be overheard saying,
I've never read any of Quillweave's writings. I've heard they're fairly good, though.
And
she travels a lot to research her books. She's in great shape from all that travel. Maybe she'd teach me a bit about getting into shape.
So, she knows something about athleticism and authoring. However, how does she feel about Anvil?
Between the sailors and shipmen of the port and my little local circle of friends, I have plenty of yarns for knitting up my tales.
Tales, you say? Do you know any good stories about mountain lion attacks?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not sure what you're accusing me of, but don't do it without any proof. Be seeing you.
Guilty or not, clearly Quillweave isn't going to show her hand unless we have proof, as she said. So as instructed, we make our way to the back of Thelus's abode and find a jutting part of the ramparts that we hide against, waiting until nightfall. After 8 p.m, we see a figure silently sleuthing behind the fence, making their way towards the hole in the ground. When we make out the figure is Quillweave, noting quickly, I've seen Quillweave leaving meat outside Avina Thelus's house. This must be what is attracting the mountain lions into town and into Avina's basement. I should confront Quillweave. As the rude reptile attempts to depart, we jump out from behind the pillar, yelling, "Gotcha, you scaly wench!"
Yes? What can I do for you?
Well, you don't scare easy, do you? Unless you want a second, less pleasant chat with the guards. I saw you outside Avina's house.
You what? Well, I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about. I would never go skulking about.
Really? What's that rotten meat smell on your hands?
Fine, you've got me. I figured if I left some rotten meat outside, the nasty little things would come out, and the guards would take care of them.
What, you figure a nice little mountain lion's gonna kill the rats and Thelus and you'll get away with it? It's pretty sick.
Mountain lions? In her basement? I just wanted to lure her vermin outside. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, except the rats. Please, don't tell her. And if you can keep this our little secret, I can make it worth your while. There's a bit about acrobatics I can teach you. Give it some thought.
Her quest then updates. I've confronted Quillweave and she's admitted to trying to kill off Avina's rats. She has promised to stop and has asked me not to tell Avina what she's done.
Take care.
Now, as you'd imagine, this gives us 3 distinct paths to explore. The first is telling Avina, the second betraying Avina, and the third completely failing the quest. Returning to Thelus, she then laments.
Oh, my poor little rats. So, did you follow her? She's behind it, isn't she? Tell me what you found out.
Deciding to become a rat, we snitch. You're right. The women of this town can't be trusted. It was Quillweave behind it.
I knew it. That swit. Oh, I'll get her. You just wait. Must have taken some fast talking to get her to confess. Maybe I can teach you a little bit more about how to talk to people. And of course, here's the payment for the contract. Thank you.
This then concludes our quest, and we're given 1 level boost in Speechcraft, +1 to Fame, and 100 gold, which is a leveled amount.
Oh, my rats are so cute.
Finding Quillweave on the street, though, She's not too fond of our penchant for ratting on her.
You told her. What have you done? I'll be ruined. Oh, thanks a lot.
Interestingly, as Quillweave is an acrobatics trainer, she will still be available to train in acrobatics. However, she'll call us a rat every time we speak to her, no matter how high our disposition is.
What do you want, you rat?
Our second option is to betray Arvina Thelis, reporting.
So, did you follow her? She's behind it, isn't she? Tell me what you found out.
No, it wasn't Quillweave. Your paranoia is getting the best of you, unfortunately. She has nothing to do with it.
She didn't, huh? But you've taken care of the problem, and I suppose that's what counts. Thanks for that. Here's your payment.
Arvina will then give us 100 gold and +1 to fame. However, to get the second part of our reward, we need to visit Quillweave as our quest updates. I've told Arvina Thelis that the problem has been solved and she's paid me for the contract. I should see Quillweave and tell her I've protected her secret. Outside, on the bridge near the castle, the wandering Argonian turns to reward.
So, you didn't sell me out. I appreciate that. Well, I said I'd make it worth your while. So let me teach you a little something. You've got to be light on your feet to make it around here, and that's something I'm good at. Maybe you can be too. Take care.
With our quest complete, we now have 1 level boost in acrobatics. But, as promised, what happened if we failed the quest outright? Well, during the several times we were sent down into Arvina Thelis' basement, instead of simply killing the mountain lion, we could be bored of our contract and fry the rats along with a pesky lion for our trouble. Not before pausing to admire Oblivion's very jiggly physics. It's almost hypnotic. Returning to a distraught Thelis, she accuses.
What did you do to my little rats?
My rats are all dead. It's too late to do any more. I won't be needing your services any longer.
We then receive no reward for the quest, nor fame, failing to aid our contract giver.
Useless Fighters Guild. What do you want?
Oh, the poor little rats.
Now, before we return to the Fighters Guild with the news, as promised, there's a bonus little Easter egg attached to the quest being. Quests involving rats specifically have been a running theme for early involvement in the Fighters Guild since Daggerfall. For example, the Fighters Guild quest in Morrowind involves a lady named Durarane Thelis. Related? Who has a rat problem of a different sort.
These rats are such a nuisance. I'm worried they'll eat all of my pillows. You like pillows, don't you?
Now, this connection is also implied by a rumour shared by guild members after the quest is initiated, as they're heard saying.
Rats? They've got Fighters Guild people out killing rats? You're kidding, right? It's always rats for the new associates. Is it some initiation test or something?
Returning to the Fighters Guild Hall, we see the members in full force and training, and before speaking to Azan, one by one they introduce and tell us about the city of Anvil. Perhaps feeling bad for us in our rat assignment.
Hi, Rano. I'm Anvil's advanced trainer in blade weapons. I worry sometimes I'll go soft here. Training mostly and living easy. So now and then, I go out along the coast on my own just to stay in shape. Go hurt something.
Herwin of the Fighters Guild, health and fortune. Get outside of town if you get a chance and hike north along the coast. Great views and good hunting. Go hurt something.
Heh. Everyone calls me Sten the Ugly. I got tired of beating people up for it. So go ahead, live it up. Notice all the Nords around here? It's partly because Nords like ships and sailing. Mostly, we're sick of freezing. Go to it!
You look like a bright one. Vigdis, Fighters Guild. Are you kidding? I came here to get away from the mountains and snow. You ever spent a winter in Skyrim? Or Bruma? Give me the Gold Coast any day. Take care.
I'm Rufrius Venetius, Fighters Guild hand-to-hand trainer. You're not from around here, are you? Just a warning, be careful if you go swimming. It's the slaughterfish. They'll swarm you. Farewell.
It's you. Hi. Lency Lorum, Fighters Guild. Through and through. I'm from Morrowind, north coast of Vardenfell, near Cool. So I like it here on the Gold Coast. Sometimes I miss home, but not too much. Go to it.
Meeting the guild hall master as he sits in his office, Azan greets.
I hope I can help.
Now, it should be noted, the Fighters Guild probably gets paid an upfront fee before we take on a contract, as we're not punished or rewarded no matter which way we decided to finish the quest, even failing outright. Instead, we can even ask Azan about advancement, and he'll state,
You've done well so far. I hereby promote you to apprentice. Good luck. You too.
Now questionably gifted the rank of apprentice, we wonder if the guild is so desperate for new members, heading out onto Anvil streets. But why they need members, we shall soon learn. To begin the quest, an unfortunate shopkeeper, we seek out the head of the Fighters Guild in Anvil, Azan, who greets from behind his desk, mid-gaping chew of his lunch.
Looking for more work, eh? Good. Got a contract for you. I'd like you to go talk to Norbert Lels, here in Anvil.
Norbert Lels, you say? Where can I find him?
He runs Lels Quality Merchandise here in Anvil. He's been having problems with break-ins, though, and he's hired us to put a stop to it. Take care of Lels. He needs the help.
Huh. The way that Azan had stated Lels needs help sounded a little bit odd. Regardless, we note in our journal, Azan has told me about a contract in Anvil at Norbert Lels' store, Lels Quality Merchandise. Making our way out of the guild hall and to the docks to find the store, where it's reportedly located, we bump into aging Imperial Astia Inventius, scorned wife of Pinnerus, that aided us in our previous quest, and she greets.
Hello. A pleasure to speak with you.
Hey Astia, thanks for the help the other day. Say, you wouldn't know anything about Norbert Lels, would you?
He runs Lels Quality Merchandise. Not a bad sort. You can usually find him in his store. Farewell.
Lels Quality Merchandise? Clearly there's a joke that I'm missing. Heading halfway down the docks, we find to our left, amidst the taverns, a sign that reads Lels Quality Merchandise, and somebody's realised they've forgotten the H in the sign and crudely added it above the C. No wonder it's given the locals a bit of a chuckle. Seems this Lels needs more help than we realised. Heading inside the store, we're welcomed by a glassy-eyed blonde Breton.
Welcome.
Although he greets us, he just stares vacantly until we say, hello there.
Greetings. Welcome to Lels Quality Merchandise. We have a wide range of goods to suit your needs. Oh, and perhaps you saw the sign outside? A slight mistake, you know. Bit of bad luck there. So, what can I do for you?
Don't worry, it could happen to anyone. Norbert Lels, I presume?
I am Norbert Lels. How may I help you?
I was sent by Azan from the Fighters Guild to aid with the break-ins that you've been having trouble with.
I've lost a great deal of merchandise over the last few months. I keep replacing it, but they keep stealing it. New locks on the doors be damned. They always come at night after I've gone to bed. Maybe a mage transports them inside. You can just stay in the shop overnight. Good luck. I'm going to wait at the flowing bowl until this mess is settled. I know I can trust you to keep the place safe.
With that brisk overview and saying goodbye,
Goodbye.
Lels just marches straight out the door, leaving us to deal with the break-ins and our quest updates. I've spoken to Norbert Lels, who says he has had break-ins at his store almost nightly. He would like someone to stay in the store tonight and catch the crooks in the act. A little bit stunned that we've been left to our own devices, we could just pilfer all of his goods as we look to the eastern corner of the room and see there are 2 emeralds in a display case that are ripe for the picking. And if we head upstairs, we find inside his personal quarters a very easily locked chest that contains a weapon and shields. Or in his second bedroom, we also discover a weak potion of invisibility and a potion of speed on the dresser. Plus, there are multiple other items that we could pilfer at our own leisure. Either Lels is far too trusting or completely oblivious. Seeing as we've got a few hours to kill, we think it best if we go speak to him at the Flowing Bowl and perhaps learn a few more clues which will aid us in thwarting the thieves. Stepping out the front door of the store, we nearly bowl into a trio of 3 goons.
No time to talk. Go away.
Well, it's common knowledge that the Anvil docks can be quite rough and tumble, but these 3 clearly have their minds set on mischief. Entering the Flowing Bowl, we find Norbert mingling with the crowd, and he turns to question.
What can I do for you? Do you have questions about these break-ins I've been having?
Norbert, sorry for interrupting. I was just wondering if you could tell me anything more about the break-ins.
As I said, I'll need you to stop these thieves from breaking into my store. It only seems to happen at night.
As we realize we're going to get no more information, Norbert again gazes at us with a glazed-over look, exclusively gulping in air from his open mouth. And the pieces start to come together and we say, Norbert, how do you stay afloat in Anvil? Where do you get your merchandise?
Anvil's a port town. That's why you'll see items here you won't find in the Imperial City. The captains keep an eye out for special items for me.
Oh, so the ship captains help him out. That makes sense.
Goodbye.
Unsurprisingly, the other citizens of Anvil are also aware of Norbert's shortcomings, and as we loiter around the local taverns, we hear,
Norbert Lellis runs a fine store, but he's not the brightest fellow.
I feel sorry for Norbert Lels. He's a good man, but he gets taken in so easily.
He's a nice fella, but he couldn't even get the sign for his store spelled right.
He's not the smartest man, but he's a nice guy. I just hope he can keep his business afloat.
Now the pieces come together for myself as to why the quest is titled An Unfortunate Shopkeeper. And it should also be noted, and it's a little quirk that I enjoy about fantasy titles, is that Norbert, seeming harmless, is regarded affectionately by the locals and is looked after as well. There are obviously no medical terms in a fantasy universe, though the fact I learned recently that insults like calling someone an idiot or a moron, etc., were actually medical terms back in the day to denote somebody's specific IQ. However, Norbert doesn't seem like he's not that bright, so I did some digging in the construction set because usually when a voice actor has to deliver lines and acting a character with, say, a specific affliction like Phalion.
You have skooma? Oh, my friend. Yeah, you're my friend now. Thank you. Thank you.
Obviously, the voice actor needs direction, and that can be found sometimes in the comments box about the voice line takes. So I did some digging on Lels, and there are no specific lines. Now, the producer could have told the actor to just do it straight. I don't know what's going on, but I was hoping that something like simple-minded, mouth breather, anything would have appeared and that would have given him a more unique and slower take, but perhaps that's just my own wishful thinking as it hasn't transpired. What I will say is that people who are either slow or deemed crazy, other than being sent to a local healer, there's no medical facilities in universe and they can find themselves as outcasts living on the fringes of society, or I dare say, cast out into the Shivering Isles. Now, the reason why I point this out is because this will come full circle at the end of the quest, and it seems old Shea Gorath, perhaps he took notice of Norbert, or at the very least the devs sought justice on the Bretons' behalf. Either way, we return to Norbert's misspelled store. sitting behind the counter, and wait until it grows dark and the witching hour is upon us. It's then we hear we're not alone.
You there! Stop where you are!
Take that! Stay away! Come here!
You're pathetic. I'm just warming up, you pathetic worm.
Come here!
I'll send your bloody soul straight to Sovngarde. Not the best you can do. Get this over with.
Contending with the trio of thugs, our quest updates. I've taken care of the crooks breaking into Norbert Lell's store. I should speak with the shopkeeper himself. Looking over their bodies, we find their basic fur armors and weapons and remove them. Though another amazing quirk, it seems, behind the scenes is, with the wiki states all three had possessed a key to the store, which was also misspelled Lell's Quality Merchandise, proving that Lell's misspelling was not just a once-off. Returning to the flowing bowl with good news for the oblivious Breton, he questions.
Were you able to take care of my problem with break-ins?
Yes. A trio of thugs tried to take over your store, but Anvir, Dranus, Lorano, and Storn the Burly are dead. Well, you'll see the bodies when you go back in.
You've gotten them? Wonderful. But their names are familiar to me. All of those men have worked for me. Amazing. I even trusted them to open up the shop in the mornings. I can't imagine what turned them to a life of crime. Sad. Well, here's your payment.
If you'll indulge a final tidbit I found interesting, it's that Wes Johnson, the voice of the Imperials, was the original voice for the Bretons also, until Ralph Cosham was cast. Rest in peace. And we'll listen to Wes Johnson's take, as it totally changes the inflection of the lines, being,
You've gotten them? Wonderful! But their names are familiar to me. All of those men have worked here. Amazing. I even trusted them to open up the shop in the mornings. I can't imagine what turned them into a life of crime. Sad. Well, here's your payment.
Concluding the quest, we receive 100 gold and +1 to fame. Questioning. Well, I hope you're happy with the service the Fighters Guild has provided.
Herwin was sparring with some other Fighters Guild members recently. I don't think any of them could get a hit through her shield.
Yes, I'm sure that was a dazzling spectacle. I'll leave you to it then, Norbert.
Come back anytime.
Checking on Lels after the incident, we note in our journal as their quest completes. Norbert Lels was surprised to learn that the men breaking in were all former employees, though none of them had been with him long. He was glad that the problem was taken care of, though. Lels, not bothering to clear up the bodies for whatever reason, sits pondering in his store what he should be doing, which is probably clearing up bodies, and greets.
Greetings. Seeing you just makes me feel safer. I offer the finest goods and lowest prices in all Cyrodiil.
It should be noted the ship captains do seem to take care of Lels pretty well, as he has 800 gold and also boasts 2 items that are unique to his store, being the Boots of the Eel, which in part resist shock 10% on self, and Apron of the Master Artisan, imparting Fortify Armor, Alchemy and Security 7 points on self.
Come back anytime.
If a job well done, if we say so, despite Lel's questionable hiring practices, we return to Azan in the Fighters Guild quarters. Although it seems the news of our exploits has already reached the guild members.
There were 3 guys at the Lels break-ins? And the new guy didn't let any get away? Ha! I like that.
Azan, mouth gaping, still comically eating his invisible lunch, turns to acknowledge.
Well met.
Norbert Lels isn't going to have any trouble from burglars. They're all dead. He hired them. He didn't even think that the people that he was hiring were going to steal from him, even though he has no security or forethought. But you already knew that, right?
It's like everything is taken care of there. Good work. Go to it.
But with the quest ended, it's now time to explore how Lels himself has a tie to the mad god Sheogorath and his realm, and how one of Lel's own bullies, it seems, faces divine retribution in the realm of the mad god. Now, I don't want to go into spoilers prematurely for the Shivering Isles, but I will say this. It's an absolute pleasure to experience the DLC, as you can feel just how much fun and love the developers poured into creating the Mad God's realm, specifically due to the detail and creativity they crammed into the shorter story, characters, and quests. So believe me when I say this is a 10 out of 10 obscure and very easy to miss callback to Norbert Lels found in the DLC. See, at one point, the mad god Sheogorath decides we need to dole up justice ourselves to people trying to break into his realm.
You're going to Zedilian, one of my favorite spots in the Isles. It's a little place I used to take care of unwanted visitors. And some are more unwanted than others.
In this case, an archetypical party of a warrior orc, rogue Breton, and mage elf. Now, also interesting is that the orc named Gromuk Grobarak possesses a journal containing details about his party that reads,
"We were finally able to convince that idiot rogue Lewin that it was time to give up that strong box of money he stole from Lel's quality merchandise in Anvil and ditch it outside the castle. All the heat he'd brought on the group was starting to chafe. Sindelius pretty much sat him down and made him do it, but I was ready to put my foot in his face. I know he's a rogue, but we're adventurers. We get our loot from raiding old crypts and ruins and places that ain't got guards. He can be a real horse's ass sometimes, I'll tell ya. Now, deliciously, we, the player, are arbiters of retribution, again for the simple-minded Norbert Lels and his store, and can choose Lewin's punishment directly, either killing him or perhaps more appropriately, drive him mad. So, if he ever escapes the Isles to Cyrodiil, the townsfolk can talk about he is apparently touched in the head and share their sympathies for him and his affliction, like they do for his previous target, the poor Lels.
Oblivion is that thing.
This is one of the horrid guardians of which the stories spoke?
Be careful. There may be more to this creature than meets the eye.
What a joke. Let's be rid of this thing and continue on our way.
Are my eyes playing tricks? Or is the creature
By the
growing?
gods, when will it stop? It could devour us whole.
Run for your lives!
Get back here, you cowards. Something's not right.
All this time it was merely an illusion. How clever.
Wait, what's wrong with Lewin?
Makes no sense. Should be dead. Well, what? Oh.
I think this place got to him. Perhaps we should leave.
No, we'll pick him up on the way out. He must fend for himself.
Yes, quite an amazing place, really. Wonderful for relieving one's tension as you watch those troublesome adventurers suffer. No offense.
To begin the quest, The Desolate Mine, we first speak to Azan in the Anvil Fighters Guild Hall, who greets.
Good day.
Hey, I'm actually looking for my next contract.
I don't have anything for anyone in your rank. Check with Burrs Grokash in Shadenhall. He might have something. Go to it.
Exiting the snacking Red Guard's office, we make our way east, up into the Nibonai Basin, and into the city of Shadenhall. Once inside the city walls, we turn to our right and see a local city guard, who welcomes.
Welcome. Please, don't be shy. I'm listening. Well met.
Hi there. I'm looking for directions, if you can help.
What are you looking for?
Can you tell me where the Fighters Guild is located?
The guilds are west of the river, south of the West Gate. Be seeing you.
Making our way to the southern side of the city, we see Shadenhall's proud Fighters Guild, as with other halls styled in the local Dark Elf architecture. Inside its main hall, we're greeted by a high elf.
How delightful. Welcome.
And heading up the stairs, we search past a dining hall and the local barracks, but do not locate this Burzgrow cache. Instead, searching around the oddly empty hall, we then find under the stairs a door to the basement. Inside the basement, we see that the hall boasts its own forge, and 2 of the Fighters Guild members spar on a training mat. The member on the left being a burly Nord, and on the right, an orc that must be Burz. Seeing us, he impatiently questions.
You here looking for work, meat? Maybe you want a contract?
Yeah, I was sent by Azan to get a contract. You got something for me?
I suppose I've got something for you. We need a weapons shipment delivered to Desolate Mine. That's your job.
Karsh then offloads on us a weapon cache from the nearby forge, being a steel sword, steel bow, and steel warhammer.
Move your ass, boot!
With weapons in hand, our quest then updates. Burzgrow Karsh has given me a contract to deliver a weapons shipment to Fighters Guild members in the Desolate Mine northwest of Cheydinhall. Exiting the Fighters Guild Hall, we find our horse at the stable and make our way northwest towards the Jural Mountains. Cresting a grassy hill, we stop dead to see a duo of goblins lingering around by the entrance to the mine. Disgusting and foul creatures they are. Though not much trouble alone, they're seldom away from their little tribes and bickering forces in which they congregate. With bow in hand and ready for action, we head towards the mine's door. Inside, we see figures in the distance, and as we're ready to loose an arrow, we realize they're humanoid. Instead, we pull our torch and make our way hurriedly to the trio and see to our right quickly the goblins have clearly overrun the mine. Speaking to the nearby high elf, he redirects.
How are you?
I've been better.
Good that you've made it. You should talk to Rihanna.
Turning to the Red Guard, as instructed, she welcomes.
Good to see you.
Not bad.
You must be the reinforcement from the guild. Good. I hope you brought weapons for us.
You're in luck. Here are 3 weapons you can use.
You've made it, and just in time. We've got trouble with goblins here. I'll take the bow. You give the weapons to my other 2 men.
What about the goblins?
Get the weapons to the other men. Then we'll take care of the goblins.
I take it the goblins have made the mine their own.
Horrible creatures. And they've made this mine too dangerous for the workers. We're going to have to get rid of them. Goodbye.
They say that...
Having given Rihanna her bow, our quest updates. I've spoken with Rihanna, one of the fighters in the Desolate Mine, and she tells me that the cave has been infested with goblins, and we should clear the place out before leaving. I will have to give them each weapons, though. Here's the interesting wrinkle in the quest.
Let's take them!
We have the option to succeed the quest and aid these 3 Fighters Guild members clear out the goblins and stop them from harassing the miners, or perhaps we allow them to fail in their quest and some of the Fighters Guild members die under our watch. Now we shall explore what failing looks like, as one of the first things we can do to make the Fighters Guild members' odds of survival much less is to give them weaponry in which they're not accustomed. First, speaking to the Altmer Elidor, he greets.
Ah, you've got the weapons. Let's talk about that weapons shipment you brought.
Yeah, I got the weapons shipment for you.
Excellent! I long to sink a blade into some goblin flesh.
I bet you would. You're getting the hammer, though.
Ah, a hammer. Well, not my first choice, but it will suffice. Let's go.
How's that hammer feel in your hands?
I have a weapon now. This hammer. Not my usual weapon choice, but it will have to do. Let us slay these creatures.
Huh. I thought high elves liked goblins or something.
Filthy animals. Some of my kinsmen are partial to them, but I find them reprehensible. I'm waiting.
We then speak to Bragg Grobarg, who questions impatiently.
You're the one with the weapons shipment, right? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it, Bragg. I got the weapons shipment right here.
Good. I need a weapon. I'm looking forward to bashing some skulls in.
Sorry. No bashing for you, Bragg. All I got is a sword.
A sword, huh? Good enough for me. I'll split scalps instead of bash skulls.
How's that sword feel in your hand?
I'm good, I suppose. I've got this sword. It's better than nothing. Let's go bash in some goblin skulls.
You seem eager to have a go at these goblins. That's good.
Only good goblin is a dead goblin. I like dead goblins. Okay.
A quest and updates. I've given weapons to the 3 Fighters Guild members, though probably not the best ones for them. We should now clear the mine of goblins. With their weapons drawn, all of our Fighters Guild companions are ready for a brawl. Unfortunately, it is our task to try and keep them alive, and they run haphazardly down into the mine, forgoing any sense of safety or sensibility.
Ready for action.
Is that the best you can do? Am I supposed to be impressed? Come here! Why won't you die?
Seeing the foreboding cauldron of skulls that lay in this room, it's possible the goblins had encountered multiple incursions from the Fighters Guild, and perhaps that's why the guild hall was so empty. Heading back into the main mine shaft, we find the body of Bragg Grobarg, the spell sword Elidor, crumpled next to a pillow. Regardless, we're still tasked with clearing out the rest of the mine, and we shall explore that a little more in depth in the successful portion of the quest, but for now, our quest updates. The desolate mine is now clear of the goblins infesting it. I should return to Birdsgrove Cache for payment.
Hi.
Back inside the Fighters Guild Hall, we find Cache upstairs, who snaps.
Haven't you taken care of that weapons shipment yet? Those weapons won't deliver themselves.
Yeah, I delivered the weapons. It's not my fault you guys can't use them. I still get paid, right?
Well, you got the weapons there, but there were casualties after. Do better in the future or don't come to me for work. Here's your reward.
It should be noted, if one or more persons died, we only get 80% of the standard quest reward, being 80 to 480 gold. We will not receive any fame points and have to endure various negative rumors about what happened inside the mine.
They cleared out the desolate mine all right, but the other guys didn't make it, did they? You know where they're burying Rihanna? Too bad about Elidor. The guildmaster pays funeral expenses, doesn't she? Are you going to the service for Bragg Grobarg?
So what happens if we succeed in clearing the mine and keeping the Fighters Guild members alive during the mission? Well, we could speak to the High Elf Elidor once more, and he says,
Ah, you've got the weapons. Let's talk about that weapons shipment you brought.
Yes, I have the weapons shipment right here.
Excellent! I long to sink a blade into some goblin flesh.
A sword, you say? There's no finer steel in this side of Cyrodiil. Have at it.
A blade. Fantastic. Let us take the fight to these vile creatures.
Is there anything else you need?
No more needed for me. I have this fine blade with which I'll slaughter some of these miserable beasts. I'm waiting.
Speaking to Bragg Grobarg, he questions.
Ready? You're the one with the weapons shipment, right? Let's talk about that.
I got your weapon here.
Good. I need a weapon. I'm looking forward to bashing some skulls in.
Well, there's nothing better to bash a skull in than a hammer.
A hammer? Excellent. Good for bashing in puny goblin skulls.
Hammer suits you. You good to go?
I'm good. I've got this hammer to bash in some goblin skull. Okay.
After which, we again follow the trio, this time much more capable as they're well equipped, though it is a little bit of a slog to keep all of them alive as they're prone to separating, and Rihanna with her bow is not so good in close quarters. Though to be honest, the hardest element in keeping the trio alive are the traps that are peppered throughout the mine thanks to the goblin inhabitants.
Come here! Die, damn you!
After personally descending into the bowels of the mine, we find the savage goblin leader and quell his occupation with a single loosed arrow. Our quest would then update again, the mine is clear, and we need to return to Burzgrow Cache for payment. Bumping into the orc, he says,
That was some good goblin bashing. What else you need?
Nothing. You did pretty good against those goblins.
Lots of them dead, just like it should be. Not bad.
Rian then instructs.
Well, they're all taken care of now. Good work there, soldier. Get back to Grokash and get your payment.
You got a lot of goblins.
Looks like we got 'em all. Good work, soldier. The miners will be able to get back to work. You should head back to Burrs and find another contract. Good going.
And finally, much closer to the entrance, Elidor is stalking out, sword on hip, and congratulates.
Well done, my friend. This mine is once again safe for the miners.
Well, the miners are no longer plagued by those filthy goblins.
It is good that we've taken care of them, though they smell worse dead than alive. Sweet!
Inside the Fighters Guild Hall, Burrs, waiting by the door, impatiently greets.
Haven't you taken care of that weapons shipment yet? Those weapons won't deliver themselves.
Yeah, I got the weapons there. And the mine's cleared as well.
You got the weapons there and cleared the mine with no casualties. Better than I expected from you. Here's your reward and a little bonus.
If all the Fighters Guild members survived, we receive 100 to 1200 gold and 1 fame point. In addition to this, people will now begin talking about how the Fighters Guild did a good job in Desolate Mine instead of the derisive comments that we had to endure before.
They cleared out the desolate mine, and everybody got out alive. Pretty slick, eh?
Seeing as we've done such a great job, we ask of Burrs. So, looks like an advancement's in order, huh?
Looks like it's time for a promotion. Due to your performance, I name you Journeyman of the Fighters Guild.
Now a Journeyman of the Fighters Guild, we ask, do you have any other contracts going?
You're needed in Coral. Report to Velena Dunton. She's got some duties for you to take care of.
Although we're pointed to Velena Dunton, the guild master in Coral, we never learned why this guild hall is so empty. And Burrs replies,
This guild is going to hell in a hog cart. Look at what they give me. Keld of the Isles, Odinbar, both guardian rank. Pfft, useless.
So there's only 2 members, and Burrs doesn't even approve of them.
You too.
Strange. Heading up the stairs, we meet the Nord Keld of the Isle sporting his great 2-handed sword, and he greets.
Greetings, Imperial. Keld of the Isles, guardian of the Fighters Guild. And how did I achieve that high rank, you ask? Patience, caution. Slow and steady wins the race, my father always said. Careless fighters get one last white shirt and a box. Not me.
I'm taking it you like it here in Chaden Hall.
I've settled down here. Nice place. Little slow, but it suits me. Burzgrow is a bear sometimes, but I got thick skin. Doesn't bother me. Bye.
Downstairs, the Mohawk sporting high elf Otimbar greets.
Otimbar, Fighters Guild Guardian. Maybe you saw me in the arena a couple years ago. I was a contender. I got out while I still had the original set of legs, arms, and eyes. Fighters Guild is a perfect place for me now.
Sorry, I didn't catch you in the arena. What brings you to Cheydinhall?
I worked the arena in the Imperial City for a while. Got up to Gladiator, then to Capowder. A guy could get hurt, you know. Go hurt something.
Exiting Cheydinhall's Fighters Guild. A quest completes. Bursgrove Karsh was pleased with my efforts and has paid me for completing the contract. Though it is worrisome why there are so few members, and it seems our answers lie with Velena Daunton in Coral. To begin the quest Unfinished Business, we're given orders to report to Velena Daunton in Coral for our assigned duties. Upon arriving by the Great Tree, we hear people in the street comment.
I heard the Fighters Guild got the Fallen Rock contract, but the guy is just sitting around drinking beer. It's a simple job. Go get a journal from Fallen Rock Cave. Shouldn't that be a cinch for a Fighter Guild contract?
Heading north past the tree, we then enter the Fighters Guild Hall. Inside, we're abruptly met by the grisly Dark Elf champion, Modred Orion.
Hello.
We find that the Fighters Guild isn't doing much of fighting and more spreading of a rumour mill, as the chapter seems more complacent than others, and our reputation precedes us, as the porter can be overheard saying.
You heard any more about the rat thing in Anvil? I hear we have another new recruit. Things are looking up. What's his name? Maglier? Maglier? He's the other bottom boot, right? Not the rat guy.
Who's this Maglier? And why is the town abuzz with the contract not being fulfilled by the guild? Seeking answers and to make a few septims with a contract ourselves. Heading up the stairs to the third floor, we meet the guildmaster, Velena Daunton, behind her desk, and she greets.
To what do we owe this pleasure? Greetings. I see you've been keeping yourself busy. This is good. I believe it's time for you to perform some duties for your guild.
Duties? Ah yes, I was sent here with promise of a contract.
We are a brotherhood, a family. What affects one of us affects us all. Fighting, drunkenness, dereliction of duty are not tolerated. I would like you to speak with Modred Orion. He will assign you any duties that are currently pending. Good luck to you.
Drunkenness? But I'm not drunk. What are you talking about? I thought you had duties for me.
For now, Modred Orion will be handling your duty assignments. Please speak with him. Just do your job.
With that strange interaction ending, we note in our journal, Velena Daunton has told me, as a member of the Fighters Guild, there are a number of duties I'll be expected to perform. She would like me to speak with Modred Orion about these. An assignment we don't relish. As we've heard around the guild, Orion can be a tough nut to crack.
That Modred Orion has got no sense of humor. Hell of a warrior, though. No wonder he's done so well in the Fighters Guild.
Speaking of the rumour mill going in overdrive, we can hear around the city why Velena Daunton isn't as effective a leader as she used to be.
Velena is pretty useless since Vitellis died. Thank gods Orin is around to keep things together.
Velena Daunton just hasn't been the same since her eldest son died. Still, she does a good job of running the Fighters Guild.
Now understanding why Daunton perhaps wants to distance herself from her duties for a moment, we turn and see a weapons rack and spy a well-crafted, fine steel longsword. A nice replacement for our old sword. And the beginning of our upgrade of weapons and armor, which we'll do through the series. Heading down the stairs, we find the Dour Dunmer on the first floor, and he questions impatiently.
Ready for duty? What do you want? I suppose you've come looking for duties, huh?
Yeah, Velena sent me. She said you'll handle my contracts or duties, you call them now. I still get paid, right?
Duties for you. Fine. I'll speak slowly so you can keep up. I want you to contact Maglier.
Okay. What's a Maglier?
He's one of your Fighters Guild brothers, but he's defaulted on a contract. We can't allow that. Makes us all look bad.
Magli? How do you default?
He didn't finish out a contract in Skingrad. Suppose I shouldn't be surprised. He's raw like you. Go and find out what's wrong with him.
So, find Magli.
Yes, Maglier. Find him. See why he defaulted. I swear, I've scraped things off the bottom of my boots that were smarter than you. Don't just stand there. Move!
Now, it should quickly be noted, the Fighters Guild has some of the most comprehensive rumours in the game. There is so many that have been recorded, and I thought it would be a waste to not highlight some of the better ones. If you're wondering why I'm stopping every 12 seconds to throw out these really cool quotes, it's so funny to think this organisation that's based on fighting is full of petty gossip. Though, to be fair, it seems the lack of contracts going around are adding to the guild members' agitation. So imagine their ire that one of their members is not fulfilling one of the now scarce contracts. Congruently, we can hear around the guild of Maglier defaulting on his contract.
Orion is pretty steamed up about Maglier. He can get expelled for that, can't he? I don't know what's going on, but Orion said Maglier has the contract. Has he lost his nerve? That Maglier is probably parked in some tavern. I never did like that 8-pint hero.
Exiting the Fighters Guild Hall, we note in our journal. Modern Orion has told me that as my first duty, I'm to find out why Maglier has defaulted on a contract he was given near Skingrad. Heading to Skingrad's west gate, we turn to the north and up the cobble path and stop to speak to a guard who greets.
State your business.
Yeah, I was just looking for Maglier. Have you heard of him?
No, him. He's been around. Mostly at the West Weald, staring at the bottom of a flagon of ale. Good day.
Seems this Maglier prefers to drink than fight. We then find to the northeast a stone's throw away, the entrance to the Westweald Inn. Inside, we see a lone Bosmer in iron armour standing nice and comfy by the fire. Surveying the hall, we see no one else except for the publican asleep by the southwestern wall. Awaking her, she spryly questions.
I hope I can help.
Sorry for waking you, love. I'm looking for Maglier.
He's around here somewhere. Has been for days. No trouble, really. Bye.
Arena Geranus then goes back to sleep, and we have no doubt this diminutive Bosmer must be our quarry. And say, you Fighters Guild?
What is it, brother? They send you to find me?
Well, yeah, if you're Maglier.
I'm Maglier. What do you want?
I heard you defaulted on your contract. Not good.
Defaulted? I suppose so. I'm not paid enough to do the job. I was supposed to find Brennus Astus's journal.
Brennus Astus's journal? That doesn't sound hard.
That was my job. They said it was in Fallen Rock Cave. You ever been in there? Didn't think so. I'm not going back. Not for that kind of money. If you care that much, you go find it. The contract's yours. It's not worth it for what the guild is paying. I've got a family to think about.
Orion's pissed.
Whatever.
Looking at the flaky scamp, we note in our journal. Maglier tells me his contract was to find the scholar Brennus Astus's journal within Fallen Rock Cave. He doesn't believe he's being paid well enough for the dangerous assignment, so he's chosen not to complete it. He's told me I should complete the contract instead. Cheeky bugger. If we try and sway him, he simply states.
You're still around. I've told you why I defaulted on the contract. Not too much else to be said about it. Do what you must. Whatever.
With little recourse, we head out of the hall and back into the Coral Fighters Guild. Speaking to Orion again, he seems madder than ever.
Why are you talking to me? Shouldn't you be finding Maglier?
Yeah, I found Maglier. Said he's not doing the job. Something about not enough money and too dangerous for him and his family.
He's not doing the job. The little vermin. It still needs to be done. You get back there and make sure that job is finished. Get moving! Don't just stand there. Move!
Looks like we got a journal to find. We better be getting paid for this. Making our way northwest of Skingrad, through its grassy foothills, we finally find what Magley described as the entrance to Fallen Rock Cave. Once inside, we see something just ahead, and, with torch in hand, discover fallen rocks over the entrance and a body that's crushed at the crutch by a sizable boulder. Looking over the poor fellow's remains, we see that he was guarding a chest, no doubt of booty that he laid claim to. Trying to peer through the nearby fallen rocks, we see a group of meandering skeletons and draw our bow. Having sniped the first of the skeletons, we ready ourselves as another attempts to flank us through the passage to the northeast. Seeing as our path to the north is blocked, we follow the first tunnel to the right. The cave structure we follow is rather unremarkable, however, is crawling with undead enemies. Descending through the passage further, we see the tunnels ahead are submerged in water. Sniping 2 sentries in an open ravine, we discover another chest, which has us question. Has somebody left their booty in hopes of returning? Or perhaps the skeletons are bound here and once were in possession of said treasure. Regardless, at the end of the northwestern hall, in a small alcove, we dispatch 2 mud crabs and see in the northwestern corner the floating body of a dead zombie. But why is a zombie dead here? And was it guarding its own treasure, we wonder? Sparking our torch, we see that somebody has dug into the side of the wall where they've set down a chest that has items that are quite unremarkable. However, it's to the right of the chest we see Brennus Astius's journal, the item Maglia failed to retrieve. Opening the journal to try and understand what happened in this cave and why this journal has any value before we depart. We begin to read and see the journal boasts various studies on the fauna of Cyrodiil by Brennus Astius, a scholar, and he seems like Cyrodiil's own Sir David Attenborough, trying to advance the studies of fauna in the area, and so I shall read it as such. Although much of the journal has become unreadable, we do glean. The Cyrodiilic rat appears less aggressive than its counterpart in various other provinces. They are prevalent in all parts of Cyrodiil, equally at home in basement dwellings, caves, ruins, or grasslands. They're known to carry disease, and their bites can be painful. The rest of the document about rats is illegible. However, it picks up about another creature. Though once thought to be intelligent, they are social creatures, often appearing in groups numbering 20 or more. The largest male dominates this clan structure and seems to have breeding rights with all the females of reproductive age. Younger males will often challenge the older, dominant males in a fight to the death. Their horns locked, the 2 minotaurs will wrestle until one can no longer continue. This often, again, a part is missing until it picks up with another creature, called billies by many of the local farmers. But is this so-called land dreg actually of any relation to the sea-dwelling dreg? There certainly seem to be similarities in morphology, especially in the region of the head and thorax. And they produce the same dreg wax found in the aquatic creatures. However, while true dreg are known to be cunning, even intelligent, these land dreg demonstrate none of the same intelligence. They are violent and aggressive, killing indiscriminately. Some believe them to be of Daedric origins, perhaps related to the spider Daedra. That, however, is not the opinion of this researcher. It appears more likely that the Land dreg are a distant relative of the true dreg, perhaps an ancestor from far back on the evolutionary timeline. Again, a portion of the diary's missing, however it picks up. Much has been made of the fact that trolls can be killed only by application of fire, whether it be by spell or torch. This is, in fact, a myth. Trolls do seem to have a weakness to fire and fire-based spells, and a fantastic ability to regenerate tissue, but they can be killed by conventional means. One should note, however, that trolls should absolutely not, and then the rest of the journal is unfortunately unreadable. Now, forgive me if I had a little too much fun with that rendition, but this brings us to the portion of the quest where now with journal in hand, we face a decision as our quest updates. I have found Brennus Astus's journal. I should either speak with Maglir or tell Modron Orion that the contract is now completed. Exiting the cavern with journal in hand, we begin our own study of a different type of rat. As returning to Maglir, we can still speak to him first before making our judgment for Orion.
What? You're still around? I've told you why I defaulted on the contract. Not too much else to be said about it. Do what you must.
You may have defaulted, but I found Astus's journal.
You found it, huh? Good work, I guess. Well, take it back to Orion then. He can pay you on the contract. Tell him what you want about me.
Having two options, we can say. You seem pretty flippant about the whole ordeal. I'll need to report your failure.
I understand about duty. Don't get me wrong. Should have been more than one guy on this job, and I've got my family to think about. They come first.
However, if we're curious as to why Maglir keeps talking about his family and want to know if he really is just a flake, we can get him to open up by gaining his trust, saying, "You know what, Maglir? What if I do you a solid? Tell me why you did it, and I'll tell him you did the job."
Thanks. I'm not trying to shirk my duty, but it used to be 2 or 3 men would be on this. I like the guild, but I've got a family to consider. Whatever.
So it seems Maglir didn't default out of pure cowardice, but the guild's resources have become questionable, putting him in harm's way where they wouldn't have previously. So now we have to decide Maglir's fate and deal with the consequences for either choice. As our quest updates, Maglir has told me that he doesn't care whether or not Modron Orion knows that he did not complete the contract. Returning to a surly Orion by the guild hall's doors, he questions.
Why are you talking to me? Shouldn't you be finding Maglir?
Well, I found Maglir.
So, I assume you've dealt with Maglir. Tell me about why he defaulted on his contract.
Here's the journal you said he defaulted on.
You've got the journal. Good. So, what happened in Skingrad?
It's then we can either truthfully say, Maglir scuttled. I completed the task, but here's the journal anyway.
You did it? I'll be talking to Maglir soon. I don't need one wet ear covering for another. Still, the job got done. Here's the reward. Stay with
A
it.
hail and hearty welcome.
It will complete the quest, and if we choose to rat out Maglir now, we receive 1 fame point. But it will affect further quests with Maglir in the future that we will discover soon enough. So if we don't want to affect our future quests with Maglir and his potential help, we can instead have said, he didn't default. Here's the journal.
He didn't. This doesn't sit well with me. Not well at all. Still, the job got done. Let's hope your friend Maglir has learned a lesson here. Stay with it.
We then receive the same leveled gold. However, this time we do not receive 1 fame point, though Maglir will stay loyal to us. But we haven't severed ties with Maglir in the future. Keeping Maglir's secret, we can begin to hear around the guild.
The one bottom boot covered for the other, I hear. It's a tough situation. Our new recruit says Maglir completed the Fallen Rock Cave contract. Orion refuses to talk about it.
In the quest Drunk and Disorderly, we return to the Coral Fighters Guild.
Port, soldier.
And find on the first floor the ornery Orion who demands.
Back again, huh? What is it?
I'm looking for more work. Got any?
Back for more work, are you? Good. Some of our boys are causing trouble in Leowin. Looks bad for the guild.
Causing trouble?
Some of your brothers have been getting rowdy at the local tavern. I've got no problem with cutting loose, but I don't like it when we all look bad. You're looking for Relian, Vantus Prelius, and Dubak Groshok. I haven't had any trouble with them before, so find out what's going on. I'll be waiting.
With little more to go off, we note in our journal, Modern Orion has assigned me another of my duties. I'm to travel to Leowin and find out why 3 members of the Fighters Guild, Dubak Groshok, Relian, and Vantus Prelius, have been causing trouble. We then begin to hear rumors around the guild hall of the Wayward Warriors.
Blackwood Company's getting all the contracts around Leowin. No wonder the boys there are getting restless. Some of the Leowin boys are cutting up pretty bad. Orin is not happy.
With little recourse, we make our way to the swampy city of Leowin to begin our quest. Being met with a light shower, we arrive at Leowin's west gate and find ourselves out front of the local Fighters Guild hall for more clues as to which tavern the boys have caused trouble at, and also what would cause the Fighters Guild members to disgrace their local chapter. Inside the spacious hall, the local Fighters Guild porter greets.
How are you? Good day.
Yeah, I'm looking for the boys causing trouble down here. Say, there's a long journey from Coral. Why haven't you stopped him?
I suppose you got sent down here to stop them. Good. We've tried, but they won't listen. Head over to the 5 Claws. You can't miss them. Bye.
We then note the location, writing, I've been told that I can find the 3 Fighters Guild members in the 5 Claws Lodge, likely causing trouble. They warn me that it will be difficult to subdue the 3 men. Great. Just what we need to make a reputation for ourselves within the guild, and not a good one. Speaking of which, we take a moment to explore the Leowin chapter and find out what type of members inhabit the halls. It's on the 2nd floor in a southwestern wing. We find a small training room and a red guard practicing on a dummy who greets.
Hey, baby. You fancy some training? Sharina's the name, and blades are the game. If you need a blade, go see Toon Zeus at the dividing line. Does repairs, too. He does go on and on sometimes, but he's the genuine orc in Leowin. Goodbye.
Worth mentioning is the pile of steel armor in the southeastern side of the room, which we're free to take as Fighters Guild members, and as promised, during the Fighters Guild questline, we shall be upgrading our armor where we can find it, so this is the perfect time to move on up from iron armor to steel, bar our gauntlets. It should also be mentioned, by the bowwoman Khajiit, in the eastern side of the room, behind a locked door, is a variety of weapons that we could take. But it was in the last episode, we'd already collected a fine steel sword from the Coral chapter. So instead, we keep searching the guild's halls and find on the 3rd floor the Imperial warrior Antus Flonius, who greets.
Good day.
Say, Flonius, I've heard there's trouble down at the 5 Claws. Know anything about it?
Witsy Dootsy runs a clean establishment. Well, she really hates it when people mess up her place.
Well, poor Witsy Dootsy has quite the mess on her hands.
Go hurt something.
I really enjoy that questionable go hurt something like he's not sure of the statement. To our right, we find multiple different display cases, though it should be noted that they have replicas around. Now, obviously, some people probably don't want to keep expensive weapons on hand versus replicas for display purposes. However, other guilds, as we'll soon find, do keep the real thing. But this is not what we're looking for, as we find in the western side of the room a trio of silver swords, which come in handy when dealing with the undead. Making our way back downstairs, we then bump into two guild members sharing rumors and overhear.
Brodrus has been teaching Fighters Guild members how to better use heavy armor. Odd for a Bosmer, but he's apparently good at it.
Knowing how to use heavy armor isn't a bad idea. Kind of odd to learn it from a Bosmer, though.
Did you hear Itar stirring things up again?
I think he's just playing around. I don't think he means anything by it.
Good day.
Goodbye.
Seeing a Bosmer in heavy armor that fits their description, down on the first floor by the hall's entrance, he greets.
Brodras of the Fighters Guild. I don't do contracts much. Mostly I'm a trainer. Heavy armor. And look, no jokes about the heavy armor, eh? Not every Bosmer sneaks around with bows and arrows. I'm as tough and beefy as any orc. Got it?
No jokes from me about Bosmers and their armor. Say, how do you find a Leowen?
Blackwood Company's a problem. Not for me. I mostly do training. But we don't see many contracts in Leowen Guild Hall. Blackwood gets them all. Farewell.
So it's this Blackwood Company that's causing trouble and taking all the contracts. That probably explains why that Magli decided not to fulfill his contract as they were short-handed. Not enough contracts to go around, not enough people joining. Things are looking pretty bleak for the Fighters Guild, and amidst these rumors, we're also learning that perhaps idle hands are doing the devil's work. And find ourselves by the west gate and head inside to the Five Claws Lodge. As soon as we enter, we see a trio of drunks and over here.
Send over a drink, and make it quick. Settle down, pond scum.
We wouldn't be here if you'd done your job. I've ridden horses with better sense than you.
You've never worked an honest day in your life, you stupid orc. Get out of here! We don't need you around.
Send me a drink, barkeep, and make it quick.
Nothing more for you, Imperial. Get out.
What do you want?
I'll never let an orc drink here again. Get your men out of here.
You? You wouldn't know a good sword if it stabbed you in the throat.
I'll snap you in half, little man. You need to find us work. You're supposed to be boss.
Go root in the mud, pig man. If it weren't for me, you'd be mucking stables in Orsinium.
I should have stayed in Hammerfell. Keep walking, stranger. You're not half the man your father was.
You don't belong here. Get out.
You shouldn't be here.
Interrupting, the orc questions.
What do you want?
I hear you're causing trouble. What's that about?
No trouble here. No nothing here. No fun, no work, nothing. Blackwood Company's got all the work. There's nothing left for us, except for drinking.
Blackwood Company, eh?
Haven't you heard of them? Former soldiers sent down into the swamps to take some territory back from the lizards. Talk to Vantus. Shove off!
Keep walking, stranger.
How about you send over a few more drinks, sweetheart? Hurry it up, swamp rot! I'm thirsty over here.
Turning to the publican, she demands.
Your Fighters Guild, get them out of here.
Yeah, I see some of the boys are causing you some trouble.
Causing trouble? Yes. Causing much trouble, scaring customers, breaking furniture. Bad men.
I'm sorry to hear that. Witsadutsi, is it? Your reputation precedes you. I heard that you like things orderly and clean. Not so much this mess that we've got you in.
So much dirt and so little time. Pause, but a moment, and you'll be drowned in the tide. Trash, mud, dust. We all love Count Marius and his father before him. Arche bless his soul. Such a fine young man. And now his new wife, so beautiful, so fine. And wise? Oh, yes. The new Lady Leowyn is daughter to Countess Ariana Valga, County Coral. And so she knows just how the county should be run. Lady Alicia tells Count Marius exactly what to do, and he does as she says. But listen to me, cawing and chattering like an old fish crow.
So it should quickly be noted Witsadutzi's affections for the local countess and royalty may be misplaced, as we have caught them torturing the local Argonians in Khajiit. Any beast folk really, especially this Alessia Caro, who seems to be spearheading the operation, which will be linked in a video at the end of this one. However, for now, we question, what do you know of Blackwood Company?
They have caused trouble here as well, but they have gold to pay for the trouble. Things are always better when served with gold. Make them leave now.
Turning to the Red Guard, he sneers.
I'm tired of wasting time with you.
You'll keep your nose out of this if you know what's good for you.
I'll leave when you do, and you stop causing trouble.
Trouble? Trouble, you're damn right. But it's not us, friend. The real trouble's with the Blackwood Company. They're what's causing trouble.
I'm guessing you're talking about the Blackwood Company.
Mercenaries is what they are. And they've hung up a shingle here in Leowyn. Vantus can tell you more. Mind your own business.
It's then we finally speak to the Imperial leader, Vantus Prelius.
You need to find us work. You're supposed to be boss.
When I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. It's not wise to interrupt us in the middle of our discussion.
Discussion? From what I can tell, you're just causing trouble.
I don't think so. I'll tell you what real trouble is. It's trying to pay my debtors when there's no work. It's my wife taking in wash to buy food. That's been the state of things since the Blackwood Company began moving in.
And that's why you hate the Blackwood Company? They're taking the jobs? Why not join them?
I spit on them. Mercenaries sent by the Emperor to reclaim territory in Black Marsh. When they failed, they came back and set up shop. They've been undercutting us on contracts ever since, and they've no qualms about accepting jobs no guild member would be caught dead doing.
So it's the Emperor's fault. Look, I'll look into the Blackwood Company, but you and your men must stop.
Oh? We must? Well, last I saw, you didn't outrank me, journeyman. I suggest you mind your manners and your own business.
Well, then I must report this to Orion. He's not going to be pleased.
Report us? Oh, no. Why, we might never get work from the guild again. And that would be different how, exactly?
Oh, I see your point. You need work to keep busy.
A brilliant idea. Orion only sends his best these days. Tell you what, you go find us some paying work and we'll happily go about it.
So, you want us to find Fighters Guild jobs?
Jobs would be great. Too bad no one is giving us any these days. If you can find some work for us, we'll do it. Barkeep, a refill.
Relian then similarly questions.
Leave here now, Red Guard.
Something you need? We still need work.
Yeah, I'm thinking about looking for jobs to help out.
I'd love some work. Seems like joining the Blackwood Company is the only way to get it, though. We appreciate it.
How about you send over a few more drinks, sweetheart?
Dubok similarly states.
Are you still talking? Find us work and money.
I've heard from the other two. I'm guessing you need a job.
Jobs are good. I need more money, so I need more jobs for money. Show me
You've
something.
never worked an honest day in your life, you stupid orc.
I've ridden horses with better sense than you.
Send over a drink and make it quick.
Turning to the barkeep between their barbs, she emphatically states.
Your Fighters Guild. Get them out of here.
Yeah, I think I can get them out of here. Easiest way seems to be if I find a job for them. Know anything going?
Jobs for the Fighters Guild. Try Margart. If she's not at home or at the Five Claws, She's probably out looking for alchemical ingredients. Make them
I'll show
leave
you where
now.
you can put that fancy sword.
Now, it should be noted we could simply try and kill them to end the quest. However, all three are set as essential and, well, as drunks it seems like they just half get knocked out and are used to a little bit of the rough and tumble.
Stay out of my business. I'll snap you in half, little man.
When I want your opinion, I'll give it to you.
Instead, exiting the tavern, we note. I've heard a rumor that Margat, who lives in Leeuwen, may have jobs for the Fighters Guild. But before we seek out this Margat, it's probably prudent we see this Blackwood company for ourselves and make an honest assessment on these scandalous claims. And it should be noted that Imperial Guards exclusively can be heard sharing concerning rumors about the faction.
You heard about the Fighters Guild members tearing up a tavern in Leeuwen? As if they didn't have enough problems with the Blackwood Company. Nobody likes the Blackwood Company. They're brutes, plain and simple. But they get the job done. Of course the Blackwood Company is violent. That's what fighting is, isn't it? Violent. The Blackwood Company is just plain mean. Yeah, they've got a bad reputation, but it won't hurt business in their line of work, will it? The Blackwood Company takes any job, no matter how tough. Fighters Guild is more fussy.
Hello.
Inside the company hall, we find it filled exclusively with beast folk, and the closest Khajiit welcomes.
Commander Jah Fasir, your servant. I am second in command of the Blackwood Company. The company provides expert jihad for selected customers. Very discreet.
Thank you. What's a jihad?
Beg pardon. It is a word from the Ta'agra, meaning warrior for hire. In Ta'agra, the word is vaguely disreputable. Such a fighter fights for gold rather than for clan or mane. Of course, the Blackwood Company is mercenary in the Western sense. A reliable professional contractor for military services.
And what brings you to Leeuwen?
Blackwood refers in part to Blackwood Forest, but it also carries a reference to the Thogat of charcoal warriors of Khajiit tradition.
Right. So who's the leader around here?
Excuse me. In the Imperial tongue, it means roughly clan chair, the seat of the clan patriarch. In the company, we use the term to mean leader, but it carries the sense of wise father, concerned for the welfare of the whole family. Bye.
Concerned with the clan like a family. Orion could take notes. Seeing the helmed Khajiit behind him listening in, we approach.
How are you? I am Rizakar, Pakshich of the Blackwood Company. The company provides expert jihad for selected customers, very discreet.
Ah, you're the leader of the chapter. I only see Argonians and Khajiit here. It's limited hiring practices.
The Blackwood Company is proud of our beast folk heritage, and we are solely owned and operated by Khajiit and Argonians. We speak West fashion for the comfort of our Western clients, but we invest the fierce pride of our ancient races in each of our mercenary contracts. Be seeing you.
Now, it should be noted, the beast folk of the area, comprising of Argonians and Khajiit, can be heard talking about the Blackwood Company and, well, hear for yourself.
I understand they've been taking a lot of the contracts that used to go to the Fighters Guild.
I don't trust them. I've heard they're effective, but they're brutal.
Searching the hall, we see to the south a hooded Argonian who questions.
Lieutenant Rana, Blackwood Company.
Hello there, Rana. What do you do around here?
My duties are primarily administrative. They keep me busy here in the Leowin barracks. Farewell.
Speaking of the barracks, to our right is a small dining hall and a locked training hall, which we obviously cannot enter without the key. Stepping past their dog Steelfang, we then make our way to another large door that's guarded by an Argonian Geel, who introduces.
I am Geel, Sergeant of Sharpshooters, Blackwood Company.
Good man to guard a door. What do you do here?
Here I train our skirmishing specialists. You know, perhaps, that Argonians may be gifted spellcasters. Bye.
Looking around the room, we see that it's a spacious sitting hall, and on the second story, we find that a door to our left to Jitum Z's room that is also locked and needs a key. Funnily enough, to our right, we find a large office where Jitum Z skulks around, and he questions.
Yes?
Now, the reason Jitum Z has no dialogue is we cannot speak to the man that is the local guild recruiter, for obvious reasons, though, even if we were of beast folk persuasion, we still cannot join the Blackwood Company, which is a little bit of a shame there's no racial perk for being a Khajiit or Argonian to further the story in their own way.
They say that when you murder someone, the Dark Brotherhood comes to you in your sleep. It's how they recruit new members. You too.
Over on his desk by the eastern wall, there is a publication from the Black Horse Courier that talks about the Blackwood Company and the recent challenge of the Fighters Guild. Also of note, as promised, by the southern wall, if we break into the hard-locked display case, we find one of the Blackwood Company's exact shields. Looks like they've got so much money they don't need cheap replicas. Deciding it's probably best we don't rock the apple cart, we depart without pilfering any of their goods. Sensing that the members, despite being quite cordial, are only tolerating us, and we're being watched our entire time in the hall. And as we move to leave, we nearly bump into a leather-bound Argonian by the front door who greets.
Olid I, Blackwood Company, Master of Assassins.
Master of Assassins? That's quite the title.
We, of course, have no use for the specialized skills of assassination. It is my task, instead, to train our agents in various aspects of stealth.
Of course, assassination would garner quite the negative reputation around town. Wary of the Blackwood Company and their false smiles, we know something's wrong, however. We should backpocket it for the moment and focus on the task at hand. Instead, remembering that Witsadutsi had pointed us to this Margat, we begin to hear rumors of the local Nord.
She knows a lot about doing business. I don't like to bother her, though. She's a bit touchy when you do.
She's a smart one. You could learn a lot from her.
Exiting Leowin via its west gate, we begin to search for the local forager and find her scavenging on the local lee of the hill nearby, and she greets.
Greetings, Imperial. A pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, I hear that you're the lady to talk about for a job for the local Fighters Guild members. You got anything?
I suppose I've got something I could use the guild's help with. I need ogre teeth and minotaur horn for my alchemy experiments. They're tough to get, but I prefer fresh, and I'll pay well. And I just don't trust those Blackwood Company folks to find them. Well, I'm not sure about you either. Tell you what, if you bring me back 5 portions of ectoplasm, I'll give my business to the guild. That's my offer.
5 ectoplasm? And then you'll talk? Seems a bit steep.
Come back when you've got the ectoplasm, and we'll talk about those other men getting work from me.
Incidentally, Margat will buy ogre teeth and minotaur horns off us from this point on, as she says.
I see you have some. I'll buy them in groups of 5 for 100 gold. Are you selling?
Yes.
Fine. Here's your money. Let me know if you find more. Take care.
According to the wiki, it's not a great deal. Our quest then updates. Margot has told me that she will pay well for minotaur horns or ogre teeth. However, she doesn't trust the guild yet. I need to bring her 5 portions of ectoplasm, and she'll give us her business. Now, it should be noted in our previous quest with Mag Lear, his unfinished business clearing out Fallen Rock Cave, that if we were at level 6, we would have encountered plenty of spectres, and so would have no doubt already harvested 5 ectoplasm. However, as I start these quests at level 1 to keep things feeling more attainable and grounded, looks like we have to find an alternative route to find ectoplasm, though it's not so readily available at our level. However, there is one place that we can find 5 ectoplasm. As if we head to the local chapel, we can actually find the racist Countess Alessia Caro praying, not for forgiveness, probably for Xanathar to give her more strength to deal with the local beast folks' burden. We can instead find our way down to the chapel's undercroft. Inside, we encounter the sanctified dead. Dispatching the dead, we find the promised ectoplasm. However, it's when the third undead is dispatched we see... Is that a priestess?
I suppose I have a moment. What is it?
What are you doing wandering down here?
Solana Blandia, healer of the Leowin Chapel. Bless the 9 and all the faithful.
The undead just accept you because you're a priestess?
May you find healing here for your wounds and for your troubled spirit. There's a peace here in the chapel for all who seek it.
Oh? Anything else you can tell us?
Fighters Guild members have been going to Sharina to learn blade skills. She's good, and she'll be the first to tell you so. Farewell.
I bet Sharina's handy with a blade. She was all over us like white on rice.
Hey, baby. You fancy some training? Sharina's the name, and blades are the game.
Now, it should be noted just to our right, we find the inaccessible Tomb of Calidus, which is, of course, part of Knights of the Nine DLC, which will be linked at the end of this video, as it ties all of the chapels together and creates a really fun ride for those of you who like Crusaders and the lighter side of things. The Aedra versus Daedra, if you will. Getting back to the task at hand, we dispatch the 2 remaining sanctified spirits. Exiting the chapel, we wander over to Margart's abode, which happens to be just across the street. Waiting inside a doorway barefoot, Margart questions.
Have you found me ectoplasm?
Yeah, here's the ectoplasm. Now can we get the job, please?
Well, you've got the ectoplasm. Seems you Fighters Guild types can do a job when you put your mind to it. Tell your men I'll pay them for minotaur horns and ogre teeth. The Fighters Guild will be my sole supplier. I look forward to doing more business.
That's it? Just tell them to get minotaur horns and ogre teeth.
Like I told you, I can use minotaur horn and ogre teeth. If your guild brothers bring me some, I'll pay well.
Why, if you're into alchemy, did you choose Leowin?
I'm sure there's an abundance of exotic ingredients to be gathered nearby. In Blackwood, for example, or along the Nibbin. I'll be waiting for teeth and horns.
Now, it should also quickly be noted, when we were leaving the Fighters Guild previously, we had overheard 2 members discussing a local Itar stirring up trouble.
Did you hear Itar stirring things up again?
I think he's just playing around. I don't think he means anything by it.
Good day.
Goodbye.
Well, it happens to be Margart's husband, and we can bump into the Nord, who continues to stir trouble.
I'm Itar. Say, did you hear what that Argonian said? What's his name? You know who I'm talking about. He said any Argonian can kick any Khajiit's butt to breakfast any day of the week. You believe that? I think he's wrong. I know Khajiit can kick Argonian butt. Anytime, anywhere. And you can tell everyone I said so.
What else do you think of the beast folk around Leowin?
I think it's a disgrace that Argonians can swagger around Leowin, boasting how they whooped this Khajiit silly and beat that Khajiit to a pulp. Good day.
This man seems to live to create bar fights. Speaking of rowdy bar patrons, we note in our journal, I've bought Margart the ectoplasm she requested. She'll now pay Fighters Guild members for Minotaur horns and ogre teeth. I should tell the men back at the Five Claws. Returning to the rowdy drunks at the Five Claws, Dubok questions.
Are you still talking? Find us work and money.
Well, I think I got work for you.
Work is good for money. You know something? Tell Vantus. He'll put me to work. Give me money. Show me something.
Relian then queries.
Something you need? We still need work.
I think I found you a job.
Some work would be a gift from the gods. If you found something, tell Vantus. We appreciate it.
Make them leave. You're paying for all of this.
And finally, we seek out Vantus.
I've told you what we need. Until we've work, we'll stay here.
Well, we found a local, Margart. Says she'll pay for ogre teeth and minotaur horns. What do you think?
Find ingredients from Margart, huh? Works for me. I'll let the other men know. Appreciate your help, friend. And Orion should be happy.
Hopefully that'll pay the bills and stop your wife doing washing.
My men and I should be able to keep busy for now. Thank you for your help. Good day.
The Red Guard then thanks.
Can't thank you enough for your help. What do you need?
You're happy with the new job, I take it?
It appears we'll be busy for the foreseeable future. Thank you. Be seeing you.
Dubok then questions.
Hey, it's you, the one who found jobs. What do you need?
What do you think of the work?
Looks like you found work for us. Good. Need some money. Yeah, nice going.
Witsadutsi then exclaims.
It's about time someone did something. These guys are killing my business.
Well, at least they shouldn't be causing trouble, at least.
Perhaps they will cause no more. Perhaps they will have the gold to pay for their drinks. Goodbye.
With the local boys all cleared to work, we note, I've told Dubok, Relian and Vantus about Margart's need for ingredients. They've agreed to accept a long-term contract. As this should keep them out of trouble, I should report back to Orion.
Go ahead, Boot.
Back inside the Coral Guild Hall, Orion questions.
I'm looking for results from you. What have you found out?
Well, I'm here about my duties.
I assume you've taken care of this issue. So, tell me what happened. Why were our men causing trouble? And what did you do?
Seems the Blackwood company had taken all the jobs in Leowin, so the guys just started drinking as they had nothing to do. I visited the Blackwood Hall. Something's off. There's definitely a sinister air about them.
The Blackwood company has taken that much of a foothold in Leowin. Those sons of... Never mind. You've done your job. Here's your payment for it.
With 100 gold and a point of fame, looks like we're ready to advance from journeyman. Some of the guys down there didn't respect the rank. How about an advent? You think it's time for an advancement?
You've done well. Because of your efforts, you have achieved the rank of Swordsman of the Fighters Guild. Stay with
What's happening?
The guildsmen, apparently in love with gossip, start to then buzz.
Orion says the new guy went down and sorted out the problem in Leowin. Trouble like that is just making things worse.
Leaving the guild hall now a swordsman, we think back on our brush with the Blackwood company and the reoccurring theme that Fighters Guild members are not only not being recruited, but not finding contracts. This doesn't bode well for the guild, and with the despondent leader Velena Dontis having lost her son, something tells us the guild's troubles have just begun. It's To begin the quest, Den of Thieves, we return to the Fighters Guild headquarters in Coral, and the surly dark elf Modron Orion corrects.
I'm the Fighters Guild champion, Modron Orain.
Modron Orion. I thought it was Modron Orion. Why are you looking at me like that? I wanted some duties, Modron.
I don't have anything for you right now. Speak with Azan or Grokash. Get some more seasoning, and maybe I'll have something. Or perhaps you're ready for advancement.
Hey, you didn't run out of duties because I got your name wrong, right? I think I'm ready for advancement.
I'm sorry. You're not yet ready for a promotion. Keep completing contracts, and take care of any assigned duties. Stay with it.
And thus, we're ejected from the guild's halls, having to find our way to Anvil for more contracts, and knowing deep in our soul it's because we mispronounced the Dour Dunmer's name. Arriving in Coral in the late evening, we find ourselves at the hall's entrance and are shocked to see a familiar figure by Azan.
Can I help you, brother?
Oh, hello. Leave me alone.
Taking Maglia's advice, we then speak to the Red Guard, who greets between hacks.
Greetings. Looking for some more work, are you?
Oh yeah, I have completed so many contracts that Modron Orain sent me down here.
Good to see you're working hard. I've got some more thieves for you to deal with in Anvil.
More thieves? What's wrong with this town?
There have been a number of thefts in the area, and witnesses believe the thieves are holed up nearby. Check around and see what you can learn. I'm not sure the numbers you'll be dealing with, so I'm sending you with another new recruit, Maglier. I believe you two have already met.
Before we can protest, Azan goes back to his hacking of the dummy.
Get moving. We need to get rid of those thieves.
And so we turn to the other dummy, and he appraises.
Oh, it's you. Looks like we're working together.
Yeah, working. A contract. Do you even know what that is?
We've got one. Let's hope this one will pay well.
We? You have to finish it to get paid. Do you at least know anything about the thieves?
Sounds like we need to ask around Anvil for any clues. Figures we'd get a mission without any real direction. I'll follow you.
And it should quickly be noted that Maglia's dialogue stays the same regardless if you ratted him out previously or sided with him in the contract unfinished business.
Payday! Let's go!
We then attempt to complain about our coupling with Maglia a final time.
You two are supposed to be taking care of those thieves in Anvil. What is it you need?
I need somebody that'll actually help with the contract.
Get moving. You need to get rid of those thieves.
Forced to partner with the diminutive deserter, we exit the hall, but not before hearing rumors.
I hear Azan plans to send both new recruits out on the next contract. You know what it's about? A den of thieves, near Anvil. Like that's news. There must be a dozen of them.
Once outside, Maglia mistakenly motivates.
Come on, let's get this mission done and get paid.
We can then actually instruct Maglia throughout our time together and say, wait here.
Hey, if you say so. You do all the work.
Of course, he predictably would rather stand around, or we can instead instruct. Come on, let's go.
Fine, let's move. Payday! Let's roll!
Beginning our search for the thieves, we note in our journal. Azan has given me a contract to find the lair of some thieves near Anvil. I'm to travel with another fairly new recruit, Maglia. I should go to Anvil first and see what information I can learn about the thieves. Making our way to the dock, where all good rumours begin, we bump into an unfortunate-looking vagrant, a Nord named Wilhelm the Worm, who explains of his moniker.
How do you do? They call me Wilhelm the Worm, because dirt suits me fine. Town lets me live in the warehouse to keep out the rats.
Well, being down in the docks, you must see a lot. With those big eyes of yours. I'm looking for some thieves.
I don't think I know you well enough to tell you that.
We then realize Wilhelm needs a little bit of walking around money.
Thank you.
So you were saying about those thieves?
Can't say I know anything myself, but I heard that Newheim the Portly had some things stolen, and he's been asking around about it. Ask him.
Newheim the Portly. A lot of unflattering names around here. What do you know of the man?
Nice, friendly folk in Anvil. Even the Countess greets me in the street. Well, except for that Newheim the Portly. He's a mean old scrote.
Scrote. That is an absolutely wonderful descriptor.
Goodbye.
With that information, we turn to Maglia for his insight and...
Come on, let's get this mission done and get paid.
He gives us a rather pragmatic response.
Let's find this fat Newheim guy, whatever his name is. He apparently knows where these bandits are. Payday! Let's roll!
We note in our journal, people in Anvil have suggested I speak with Newheim the Portly. He apparently had some goods stolen by the thieves. Waiting by the warehouse where Wilhelm resides until morning, we awaken to hear two Nords having a rowdy discussion about the local going-ons. Fitting the description with his rather rotund head and muscly body, seeing as Oblivion only has one body type, which is funny that they put all the fat in his face.
Well met. Heard any news from the other provinces? Nothing I'd like to talk about. Bye. You too. You look like a bright one.
We question, Newheim?
Hell, what can Newheim the Portly do for you?
Well, I heard some thieves have been giving you problems down here. Know anything?
Aye, I know about those scum. Rotten bastards robbed me blind, they did. Stole a family heirloom. Bunch of Bosmer, if you can believe it. No offense to your friend, of course. Last I heard, they were holed up in Hirota Cave, not too far from here.
And you mentioned an heirloom being stolen.
Took my flagon, they did. Passed down to me from my father Rolf, and from his father Torvald. It's a wondrous cup. Keeps ale cold and sweet. Been drinking from a lousy wooden tankard since. It's just not the same. If you can find it, you'd have the gratitude of Newheim the Portly.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for that mug. Sorry, whereabouts is this Hirota Cave you spoke of?
You'll find it north of Anvil. Good luck, and give it to those bastards good.
Thank you for the guidance.
You go get 'em, and whip their asses for Newheim.
Maglia, unaffected by the barbs about Bosma, then states...
Come on, let's get this mission done and get paid.
Well, you're itching to take on those Bosma thieves. It doesn't bother you to kill your kinsmen?
Sounds like we'll find the bandits in Hirota Cave. Payday! Let's roll!
Well, payday, I guess. Only thing Maglia cares about is the money. Our quest then updates in two ways. First is our Fighters Guild quest, which reads, Newheim has told me that the thieves are all Bosma and may be located in Hirota Cave, north of the city of Anvil. Maglia and I should travel there and take care of them. However, a second separate quest that we can only encounter if we had probed further about Newheim's flagon reads, Newheim has mentioned that he had a family heirloom, a pewter flagon stolen by the thieves. If I return it to him, he'll reward me. Taking our horse from the stable, we begin to head north up the Gold Road, with Maglia in his heavy iron armor doing his best to keep up. Just on the side of the hill, we find in the side of a rock is a wooden door, and it seems this bandit hideout is overlooking Anvil just a stone's throw from the main gate. Once inside, we put out our torch and turn to Maglia, and he states,
Come on, let's get this mission done and get paid.
You're not worried about how many of them there are?
Let's get rid of these guys so we can get paid. Payday! Let's roll!
Well, it seems Maglia's not going to renege on this contract. Maybe we shouldn't be worried about Bosmer if he isn't. Attempting to creep around the cave to get a drop on these bandits, we first head through a tunnel to our right that collapses near us.
The death of Uriel Septon. Take care.
Hearing voices nearby, we then begin to make our way through the snaking tunnel and through a wooden door, and it should be noted as we search this cavern for the flagon of Newheim that there's a lot of miscellaneous goods, trash, and really low-level items peppered throughout this dungeon, so I'm not going to focus on what's inside the chests or barrels, as you can expect to find a smattering of miscellaneous goods versus something worthwhile, though to the credit of the cave designers, it does feel lived in, as we soon find out why. Heading through the tunnel that snakes to the right, we find a rock wall and voices behind, and encounter some Bosma that lie in wait.
Wherever it was, it's gone now.
Hello? This ends here!
You're pathetic.
This ends here!
This is the part where you...
Surprised that Maglia got his hands dirty in the brawl, we then begin to search through their effects and continue up the northwestern wall, seeing the remnants of the structure of the mine shaft. Behind a wooden door, we then encounter a trio of angry Bosma.
Let's get this over with! Run while you can!
Seeing that there was one bandit left lying in wait, we attempt to loose an arrow that would hopefully find its mark in his jugular. However, it seems Magli has gone above and beyond and already felled the foul foe. Searching said Bosma, it should also be noted his name is Ned Helfin, which is, of course, a very Valenwood-esque name, though it is strange to see the developers took the time to name these bandits individually, which generally does not occur. Searching the bandits' second small campsite, we find a stone cup. However, this clearly is a plain and forgotten mug and not the ornate heirloom that Newheim spoke of. Heading deeper into the northeastern section of the cavernous mine shaft, it opens up into more of a cave-like structure.
Huh? Where did you go? Come out when I can see you!
It's then we spot an angry wood elf bowman inside the quarry.
Die, cur! What's the matter? Getting tired?
And Magli, again to our surprise, has no hesitation on taking him on. With an arrow that seems to pierce the bowman's heart, we move closer to Singayer, extracting the valuables from his remains, and find Magli pops up. Hardier than we expected. Heading down inside the campsite, we begin to look around and see on a far table a shepherd's pie, and to our right, an ornate flagon. This surely is Newheim's heirloom. And so we extract it in our quest updates. I have found Newheim the Portly's flagon. I should return it to him. With that part of our quest successful, we then begin to search the further northwestern room of the cave and see a final bandit that lies in wait.
What's that?
And Magli rushes in to engage.
Must have been the wind.
I've fought mud crabs more fearsome than you. Die!
Although the elf is momentarily knocked out, it gives us time to loose an arrow from a safe distance and quell the bandit infestation. Our journal then updates. Maglia and I have succeeded in clearing Hirota Cave of all of the thieves living there. I should return to Azan for payment of the contract. Although a decent combatant, Magli lets us know he's had enough of the cave.
We're done here. Let's go get paid.
You know what, Magley? You did all right. I owe you a drink.
It's tavern time.
Returning to the Fighters Guild Hall, we find Azan in the crew quarters. Any questions?
You and Maglier need to catch those thieves.
They say that when...
So have you taken care of those thieves yet?
Yeah, we cleared the thieves out of that den. Magley did okay too.
Cleared them out, did you? Good work, you two. I see big things for you with the guild. Here's your payment.
With our quest complete, we then receive a leveled amount of gold and 1 fame point. We can then ask, so, I'm ready for another contract.
I don't have anything for anyone in your rank. Check with Burrs Grokash in Shadenhall. He might have something.
Oh.
Goodbye.
It's you.
How are you?
Magley, apparently paid, has nothing to say to us.
Go to it.
Perhaps annoyed that every second we spend together is time away from the tavern. Heading to the Count's Arms, we can then hear the local Imperials spreading rumors of our success.
Did you hear about the pair of green recruits that cleaned out a den of thieves near Anvil? The rookies took care of all the thieves. How many was it? 7? 8? Both the new Fighters Guild recruits got back alive. It's a good start.
For our second part of the quest, we then make our way closer to the Count's Arms and see across the street Newheim the Portly's residence. Once inside, we look around and see a tan cup in his sitting room. To the room to our right, we see more beer and less ornate mugs. Heading upstairs into his sleeping quarters, we awaken the sizable Nord, and he questions.
For the love of Azura, can't a man have a bit of privacy? Get out of here. What?
Well, you're not going to want to kick me out. I found your cup.
Ah, you've got it. Thank the gods. Finally, my mead will stay cold and won't taste like goblin piss. Take these, and my thanks. Farewell.
We then receive 3 of Newheim's special brew, which drains intelligence and willpower like a lot of other intoxicants in Oblivion. However, restores fatigue 10 points on self, fortified strength 10 points for 60 seconds, and personality 10 points for 60 seconds. Not a bad drop. Newheim then immediately begins drinking out of it, or whatever animation that he can muster. We then state, I see you're lacking that cup.
I'm warning you, get out or I'll call the guards.
However, our welcome wears out quickly. In fact, if we loiter, we can see the portly man dart out of his house. And surprisingly, is nimble on his feet for his size as he goes to find a guard to complain to. Exiting Anvil before we find ourselves under arrest, we decide it's time to head to Cheadenhall and our next contract. To begin the quest, Emelian's Tomb, we return to the Cheadenhall Fighters Guild and find the head of the local chapter, the orc barbarian Burrs Grokash, who turns to say,
Hello, I'm Burrs Grokash, and I'm in charge of the St. Jib's Fair. All I need is clowns, monkeys, and jugglers. No, wait. Just need jugglers.
I'm sorry, I was looking for the Fighters Guild.
Yeah, this is the Cheadenhall Fighters Guild. Look around. See any fighters? Right, that's the problem. No fighters, no guild.
Ah, you're in luck. I'm fixing to complete a contract.
I've got another contract for you, meat. I assume you won't embarrass yourself.
Don't worry. I never feel embarrassed. What's this about a contract?
It's from Bienna Amelian at the Water's Edge settlement. She needs something retrieved from her ancestral tomb. Try not to muck it up.
Can you point to Bienna Amelian on the map for me?
You'll find her at the Water's Edge settlement. It's marked on your map. Haul your carcass to that settlement, meat.
Exiting the guild and heading south to the settlement, we note in our journal.
Why aren't you in Water's Edge?
Bursgrow Cash has given me a contract to retrieve an heirloom for Bienna Emelian, who lives in Water's Edge, a small settlement near Leowin. I should report to her for further details. Arriving at the small settlement, we see 3 buildings and start at the south to find our contract giver. Seeing by the entrance to the building a quaint vegetable patch, and it looks like they're mostly independent from the city.
I think you should leave.
We then meet an angsty brunette Breton who questions rightly.
What do you want?
Sorry for barging in. I'm looking for Bienna Emelian.
Bienna? She should be around here somewhere. Just look around a bit.
It should also be noted that the NPCs, due to living outside of the city, will tell you the wilderness rumours we don't get to hear inside said cities, such as...
The Colovians are proud of their reputation for being independent, rough and rebellious. Stay as long as you like.
Now, although Marie Alouette says that we can stay as long as we like, there are no guards to aid her in kicking us out. And we find she's quite handy with a bow if we don't leave of our own accord.
This is your last warning. Get out, or I'll call the guards and have you arrested. Am I supposed to be impressed?
Coming to out front of her home, we see behind her house a small stable with sheep, and it seems this town is quite self-sufficient. To our right, we then find a small farmstead in the middle. Once inside, we see 2 Bretons, apparently fans of the same fashion.
What do you want?
I'm looking for Bienna Emelian and was told to look around.
Bienna? She should be around here somewhere. Just look around a bit.
Well, this seems to be a running theme. We can also hear again of the local wilderness rumours.
My favourite town? Anvil. Lovely old stone buildings, and the harbour at sunset is beautiful. Enjoy your stay here.
Enjoy your stay, she says. To her right, we see her partner, Edward Retian, and he greets.
What can I do for you?
I'm gonna try this a final time. Have you seen Bienna Emelian?
Bienna. She should be around here somewhere. Just look around a bit.
Again, we can hear of the wilderness rumours.
Fighting's easy. Just lead them out on the water and shoot them full of holes. If you've got a bow, of course, and can walk on water.
Some sage advice.
Stay as long as you like.
Too bad we can't walk on water.
I'm warning you. Get out or I'll call the guards.
It should also be noted quickly, the only reason why the first Breton attacked us is because we've entered these properties outside of visiting hours. So it stands to reason that these Bretons are actually a very welcoming bunch down at Water's Edge. Outside, we then find behind the 2 homes another small vegetable patch, painting a picture of a very self-sufficient and welcoming community. Though why these Bretons have migrated down south towards Leowin remains to be seen. Perhaps if we find this Bienna, we'll soon learn why.
Can you help me? Hello. You must be from the Fighters Guild. I'm glad you're here. I need your help to repay a debt.
Afraid to ask at this point. Are you Bienna Emelian?
I am Bienna Emelian.
Excellent. Now you're saying about a debt?
I'm afraid so. My father had a bit of an issue with gambling. I'm afraid he built up a rather large debt. Now that he's gone, the debt is mine.
Well, if it's his debt, get him to pay it. Say, where is your father? You better not tell me he's around here somewhere.
Gone. Dragged from our house in the night. To pay the debt, I'd like to sell the sword and armour of my grandfather, or I might be next.
Dragged from your house? That's terrible. How much is the debt?
A great deal, over 1,000 septims. My father was quite a gambler. Quite a bad gambler.
And so you need me to locate a sword and armour. From where?
They were buried with my grandfather in the family tomb. The sword and cuirass were enchanted and should cover my debt. Please get them for me.
Now, at this point, the quest actually breaks up into two options. We can, instead of agreeing to find said sword and armour as a grave robber, choose to pay her father's debt outright, saying, "Here, take this money for your debt."
Are you certain? I can't thank you enough. Please, though, if you decide to retrieve the sword and armour, keep them, at least until I can repay you.
Before leaving, we can get a cheeky piece of wilderness dialogue.
Mud crabs. What's the point? Annoying buggers, though the meat isn't bad. I'm so grateful.
A quest updates as we head back to Cheydinhall. I've decided to give Bianna Emelian the money to pay off her debt. She's told me that I may keep the sword and armour if I wish to retrieve them from the Emelian family tomb. I should return to Bursgrove Karsh for payment of the contract. Now, as we do return to the Burly Burrs, it should also be noted, the armour can actually be collected at any time, including before the quest even begins, without stalling the Fighters Guild questline. Returning to Burrs, he questions.
Why aren't you in Water's Edge? You need to finish out the contract with Bianna Emelian in Water's Edge. What's the status?
Yeah, well, I finished the quest, kind of.
Paid her debt off yourself, did you? Not gonna get rich that way, meat. Still, the job's done. Here's your payment. Go to it.
We then quickly note, I've returned to Bursgrove Karsh, who was pleased with my efforts. He's paid me what was owed on the contract, which, being a paltry levelled 100 gold and a fame point, really isn't sufficient for the loss we just took. Instead, if we chose option 2, to find her grandfather's sword and armour, we can question, where are the sword and armour?
Not far in my family's ancestral tomb. Here, I can mark it on your map. Please return them to me so I can pay off my father's debts. You're my only hope.
I'm assuming that was a phenomenal throwback to Princess Leia's line from A New Hope. We then see, marked on our map to the southeast, the family Emelian tomb. Riding north from Coral, we soon find the remnants of a broken down tomb and the mud crabs that linger around its entrance. We also see a smattering of herbs and different flora about, as well as many graves. Apparently, the Emelian's ancestry seems to be quite robust in the area and probably were more prominent in the region at one point. Now, something that's embarrassing for me to admit, as we head past the lit beacon and the statues, you can probably see that the cave's entrance is missing a boulder. If we walk behind the door, you can see that there is actually a missing textures icon, and the reason is I've downloaded a mod that tells me if I'm ever missing a texture and something has conflicted with my vanilla game. It's not exactly immersion breaking, but it's enough for me to be like, I'm missing a boulder. Entering the standalone wood door, we find ourselves in a winding sepulchral tomb, and around the first bend, one of Emelian's undead relatives comes to greet us. Unsure why that her family members, interred, have become zombies and skeletons, we begin to fight through her dearly beloved, perhaps incensed at our trespassing. After dispatching a skeleton, we find there's a three-way break in a cavern, and in front of us, it seems to be a pair of gauntlets. However, when we approach, boulders fall from overhead. Surviving the encounter, we then find Brusef Emilian's gauntlets, a beautiful and intricate set of armor that is heavier than Orcish but provides inferior protection, being slightly better than chainmail. Heading to the passage to our right that is lined by wisp stalks, we see a family member's coffin unmarked in a nook. Opening said coffin, we find a few unremarkable items. The tomb is filled to the brim with miscellaneous items that we will skip over, though obviously if you enjoy your time as a grave robber, have at it. Standing on top of the tomb, we light a torch and are surprised to see a pair of unique boots to add to the collection. Making our way back around to the main room, we then enter the first tunnel to our left, activating a rope lever, revealing another incensed undead. In fact, this portion of the cave is filled with angry zombies. Apparently, Emilian's family are not all pleased with their lot in undeath. Seeing some nearby chests that were guarded by the undead, we open. The first to our right is a healing chest, and the second holds low-level items, including iron boots, but nothing of Bianna's grandfather's effects. Heading deeper into the catacombs, we find to the right a small area. Seems this is where the less prominent Emilian family members have been interred. Behind a small crate to the southeast of the room, we then locate Brusef Emilian's shield, boasting identical ornate markings and a silvery greenish hue. Following the winding tunnels, we then find ourselves at the entrance to the sarcophagus chamber. Once inside, we see the coffins are now haphazardly strewn about. It seems somebody has plundered the tomb previously. Perhaps the grave robbers were felled by Emilian's family, and now have joined the cacophony of skeletons and ghouls that guard the tomb. It's not until we ascend a stony slope to the north do we see a spectre floating about a room full of sarcophagi. Unable to injure the spectre with our normal weapons, we then remember our silver sword and bring it to bear down on the wraith. Saddened that this probably was one of the Emilian family members, we then find on a nearby stone slab Brusef Emilian's ornate sword that also looks like a silver sword with more of a flourish than a regular type, and Brusef Emilian's cuirass, a light armor piece that, like Bianna had stated, boasts frost shield 6% on self, which is leveled, so would obviously be a lot higher if we were not level 1. A quest and updates. I've retrieved the ceremonial sword and armor from the Emilian tomb. I should return them to Bianna Emilian. However, our armor set is still incomplete, and searching around the room, we find Brusef Emilian's greaves in the northeastern corner. Exiting via a wooden door that heads back to Emilian's tomb, We find ourselves in a room with a hole in the middle, some wisp stalks, and a chest with 8 gold. Before we drop down said hole, we then realise just to the southwest lies the final piece, Brusef Emelian's helm. Now with our full armour set complete, we march out of the tomb and back to Emelian. Wondering, what's the best option? Give up some of this unique set of armour, or the gold in our pocket? Returning to Waterfront, the townsfolk begin to bustle about, and we find Bianna with her back to us, and she greets.
Hello again. Have you had any luck finding the sword and armour?
Yeah, I've got the sword and armour and, well, everything else. Let's just say I wouldn't go back in that tomb for a while.
You found them? Fantastic! I can't tell you what this means to me.
We then have 2 options, again, to give her money for her debt. Obviously, a better option, as this armour is exquisite. Otherwise, say, yeah, here are the sword and armour.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll be able to sell these for enough to pay my debt. You're a lifesaver.
Well, I guess your debt is paid.
I can't tell you how much your help means to me. Thank you again. I'll never forget this.
We then leave Waterfront on our horse, looking ridiculous without the cuirass, and our quest updates. I've given Bianna Emelian her grandfather's ceremonial sword and armour so she may sell it in order to pay off her debt. I should return to Grokash and Cheydinhall. Inside the Cheydinhall Fighters Guild, Grokash greets us at the door, questioning.
Why aren't you in Water's Edge? You need to finish out the contract with Bianna Emelian in Water's Edge. What's the status?
Yeah, I gave the armor and sword to Bianna Emelian.
Got a sword and armor for her, huh? Not bad work, meat. Here's your payment for the contract.
Well, I guess 100 gold isn't bad. Got some armor. Do you at least have a contract for me?
Nothing now, not at your rank. Go see Azan in Anvil. Maybe he's got something.
Well, how about advancement? I'm doing most of the work around here.
You're due for advancement. I hereby name you Protector of the Fighters Guild.
Now I'm a Protector of the Fighters Guild. Maybe you do have a contract, huh?
I've been told to send you to Coral for some duties. Speak with Orion. You too.
The Fighters Guild main chapter in Coral would then become abuzz with rumours of our choices during the quest. If we had given up the sword and cuirass, we would hear.
Bianna Emelian sold her family sword and armor to pay her debts. And you think you have it bad. Sure, the Fighters Guild raided a family tomb, but they did it for a family member. What's wrong with that?
However, if we chose to simply pay her debt, they would instead gossip.
I hear our gold soldier paid her debt. But the hard hand also kept her family's sword and armor.
Deciding at best we keep said armor, as I had promised we were going to upgrade our armor set throughout the Fighters Guild questline, and it's much too pretty to just simply give away 2 key pieces. To begin the quest, The Master's Son, we return to the Coral chapter of the Fighters Guild, as per Grokaash's request. Inside, we meet Fighters Guild champion Modron Orain, and he questions.
Oh, hello. What can I do for you?
This might come as a surprise, Modron. I'm looking for duties.
I've got another job for you, slightly off the record. You'll be going on a mission with Varanus Daunton. Yes, the Guildmaster's son.
Varanus Daunton? Sorry, I thought the son was dead.
You're to accompany him and make sure he succeeds. He needs some time in the field to get his confidence up, or he'll never become a good warrior. Valena coddles the boy too much. Doesn't want him in the line of fire. Suppose it's no surprise after Vitellis.
The Varanus Daunton, Vitellis Daunton, where are they all coming from?
Valena Daunton's eldest son. Good man. We lost him on a botched mission recently. You've probably seen the other wounded around. If you're smart, you'll steer clear of the subject around the Guildmaster. Perhaps you and I will have time to discuss it more later.
And you said you're sending the Anus one to build his confidence up, yeah?
His mother's been holding him back, protecting him. You'll go to Nonwell Cavern with him. Galtus Previa was lost there, and you're to find him. And not a word of this to the Guildmaster. Go find him. He'll be in the Danton house, most likely. And bring him back in one piece.
Becoming more confused by the second, we note in our journal. Modron Orain would like me to complete a mission with Varanus Danton, the Guildmaster's son, the alive one.
Time's wasting.
Ignoring Modron's orders, we march upstairs and see the Guildmaster, Velena Danton, with her back to us. She greets.
Greetings, Imperial brother. I'm the master of the Fighters Guild, Velena Danton. Can I help you?
Yeah, I was just looking for your son, Varanus Danton. Where is he?
My son? He's at home, I would imagine.
Thinking it best we don't get on the wrong side of the Guildmaster, lest we never get a contract again. We leave Danton to our mourning.
Just do your job.
The other guild members, it seems, are not as kind. Rumours about Velena Danton's son passing and her living heir swirl around the guild hall. Apparently, it's the Elder Scrolls version of a Nepo baby, and we hear a lot of juicy rumours that I would be remiss if I didn't add to the quest, such as the guild members' many scathing insights.
With Vitalis dead, Velena thinks only about protecting Varanus. That's a sure way to ruin the boy. Varanus needs to stop hiding behind his mother's skirts if he expects to run this outfit someday. Varanus is a good kid. It's his mom who's getting in the way. Orion is trying to get Varanus out in the field, but Velena keeps interfering. I know Velena's got Vitalis on her mind, but she'll spoil Varanus if she keeps him out of the real action.
Exiting the guild hall, we find just down the cobbled path to the southeast an incredibly sizable manor that happens to be the Danton residence. Once inside, to the left in a small sitting room, we find the surviving Danton boy, and he questions.
Ready?
Wait, you tell me, are you ready?
Greetings, guildmate. What can I do for you?
Wait, are you Vitalis or Anus?
I'm Varanus Danton. What can I do for you?
Right. Where is Vitalis?
Yes, my older brother. He was lost on a mission. Vitalis died valiantly, as we all knew he would. He was the best of us. I'm sure our mother is very proud of him.
I'm sure she is. Say, have you heard of Galtus Previa? Hope you got your boots buckled. We're on a mission to go find out what happened to him from Modron himself.
A mission? Well, of course. I'm sure we can do this. You say this came from Orion himself. Well, perhaps I should speak with Mother first.
We then have two options, which I'd like to strong-arm him with a mocking tone of, I should speak with Mother first. That's what you sound like, an old Breton spinster. There's no time. If you want in, we gotta go.
Oh, I'm prepared, of course. I'm sure there's no need to speak to Mother at all. Let's go.
Otherwise, we can admit. Listen, this is not on the record. Your mother is not to know about this. Yes?
But she's the guildmaster. Certainly she'd... No, you're right. If the order came from Orion, it's a valid one. We should be off immediately. I'm sorry. It's just that I haven't been given many contracts since my brother... since the accident. Let's go. I'm with you.
We then note in our journal, I've spoken with Varanus Danton, and he has prepared to accompany me to Nonwell Cavern. That is terrible grammar. After resting a short spell in the luxurious Danton abode, we hit the street, and here the concerned townsfolk are busy talking about the overprotected son of the guildmaster.
Velena Danton hasn't been very aggressive as head of the Fighters Guild. Maybe her son Varanus will show a bit more spunk. The Fighters Guild is a family business. With Vitalis dead, Varanus is in line to succeed his mother.
I'd say it sucks to be a Nepo baby, but he's clearly well protected, as his armor seems shiny and brand new. Back inside the guild hall, we unwisely seek out Modron Orain by the fireplace, and he questions impatiently.
You and Varanus have business to attend to. Why are you wasting time here?
Well, I got the boy like you asked. I just wanted to double-check my duties.
You and Varanus are to go to Nonwil and find out what happened to Galtus Previa. Now get to it.
If Galtus Previa's disappeared, how did he give you the contract?
We got the contract from his aunt. Was in Nonwil looking for gems of some sort. Never heard from again. You and Varanus, go find him. Time's wasting.
Gems? This doesn't sound half bad. We then exit the guild hall, heading north to Nonwil Cavern. After a few hours' ride up the hillside, the young fighter in his steel armor follows us into the wooden door of Nonwil Cavern. As soon as we enter our quest updates, Varanus, Daunton and I have arrived at Nonwil Cavern. We'll have to find out what happened to Galtus Previa and make sure no harm comes to young Daunton. Clearly, this edict cannot be overstated, as if something happens to him, I'm sure something terrible would happen to us.
I'm with you.
And just like that, Varanus promises to stick with us and then darts off like an idiot. With the boy face down in the rocks, we try and rouse him, saying, Varanus, Anus, Anus, are you all right? Wearily, he gets to his feet and states,
We must find Galtus Previa. He must be here somewhere.
How many fingers am I holding up?
He's got to be in here somewhere.
Oh well, close enough.
I'm with you.
Seems his mother not sparing any expense on his weapon and armor have done him a world of good. If he was wearing something inferior, he no doubt would have been crushed by the first troll's heft of its grimy paw. Either that or his mother paid a pretty septum to make him essential for a while. Despite his impressive and nigh indestructible armor, keeping Daunton out of harm's way proves more ambitious a task than we first anticipated. Varanus, how are you traveling?
We must find Galtus Previa. He must be here somewhere.
That's the spirit.
I'm with you.
Searching for Previa, we find a southern door that leads to Nonwil's ominously named Chamber of the Titans. The spirited Daunton then barrels ahead towards the Titans the chamber's named after. This time, trolls.
It ends here!
Heading deeper into the southeast section of the cave, we find more trolls to clear out. And on the stone lip above, we find it opens up into a crossroad. Heading to the northern tunnel, we see a lone troll, and again, Daunton aids us in ending the fell creature. However, we're now lost and wounded, and we see a small alcove, and to our surprise, another troll leaps out to confront us. With the final troll dead, we see a humanoid corpse on the ground and note in our journal, and our quest updates. We found the corpse of Galtus Previa. We should now return to Modron Orain. Sparking our torch, we find nearby the body of a dead Imperial farmer, Galtus Previa, in search of gems we'd nary found in our exploration of the cave. Examining his corpse, we find it strange the creatures had not begun to feast on his remains as trolls are known to do, and more so, a strange spiky shield for a farmer to be in possession of, sitting by his head. Now, it should also quickly be noted, if we do not pick up this broken shield, it will actually change the outcome of the quest somewhat, so we'll explore the two options. Before we return to Coral Sand Shield, we turn to Varanus for a moment, and he guides.
We should get back to Orion and report what we have found.
It's too bad about Galtus Previa.
Dead? I can't believe it. So much death. Go to it.
Back in Coral via the South Gate, though, we do not return to the Fighters Guild headquarters. Instead, surreptitiously find our way to Modron Orion's domicile, as it's probably better to report out of earshot of Valenus Donton. Once inside his shack, the shirtless Dunmer pops up to show off his jib-like physique and angrily guides.
I think you should leave.
Now, before you kick us out, we found Galtus Previa.
You're back. What have you found out about Galtus Previa's disappearance?
Seeing as we didn't attain the shield, we respond. Sorry to report, we found Galtus. He's dead.
Dead? Damn! What got him?
Well, he wasn't eaten, but there were a lot of creatures inside.
I suppose that's it then. Odd that there weren't creatures around the body, though, and that it hadn't been eaten. I'll pay Donton for his contract. And I've got this for you. Good work getting him back in one piece. I might make a real soldier of you yet.
We're then gifted a Claymore of Weariness.
Stay with it.
Boasting Drain Fatigue 30 points for 10 seconds on strike, and 1 point of fame. It should be noted this weapon is randomized, though I'll talk about our reward a little bit more after collecting the shield. Though Modron doesn't appreciate our small break before heading back to the cavern.
I'm warning you. Get out or I'll call the guards.
That's funny. You know you can't attack another Fighters Guild member. Wait, you can't attack another Fighters Guild member, can you?
Die, cur! This is the part where you fall down and bleed to death!
Coming to, we can carry ourselves back to the cave and find the spiky shield by the dead Imperial. Flipping it over reveals the markings of the Blackwood Company. Funnily enough, this shield is a quest item and it has 0 weight and only 1 defense, yet is equipable, though if we picked it up after the quest, it would be stuck in our inventory forever. Now, with a potential murder mystery on our hands, we return to Modron Orion's shack and awaken the surly elf once more.
You're back. What have you found out about Galtus Previa's disappearance?
And it should be noted, because we've picked up the shield, it actually changes his response to the first initial piece of dialogue. If we say, oh, well, his body wasn't maimed. In fact, it was in one piece despite the creatures inside. He responds thanks to the shield on our person.
Could be that. But you said the corpse was intact. Nothing had dined on the gem hunter. Something doesn't sit right with me about this.
We can then say, right, I also found this shield near the corpse. Recognize it?
Let me see that. Interesting. The symbols on it are familiar to me. I'll be looking into this.
Modron then remains tight-lipped as we respond. What is it?
Nothing we need to talk about now. I'll pay Varanus for his contract. This is for you. Who knows? I might be able to make soldiers out of you both.
Right. Anything else?
That's all. For now. Good job, though. You got Varanus home safe, and I think it'll do him good. I'll pay him for the contract. And this for you.
Now, as mentioned, we do still gain 1 fame point, but also The weapon that we receive may be a dagger, short sword, long sword, or claymore, and are leveled. So because we're at level 1, we only get the enchantment of Drain Fatigue 30 points for 10 seconds. However, if we were as high as, say, level 23 plus, it would be a Daedric weapon with fire, frost, or shock damage 20 points, or disintegrate weapon 80 points. So these rewards, although seeming low level because we are low level, are not to be slept on for high-level characters hesitant to explore the Fighters Guild questline because of these rewards.
Thanks for the help.
Exiting Modron's shack so he can sleep instead of beating us to a pulp. After the events of Nonwell Cavern, the guild members will start to say of the youngest Daunton,
Varanus is just a kid, but he did pretty well at Nonwell Cavern, I guess. Varanus wasn't alone at Nonwell Cavern, you know. Would he have done that well without help? Nonwell Cavern is a good start, but the kid has to go out on his own or he'll never learn the hard lessons.
We have so many questions. Why was a Blackwood company shield by the dead Imperial's body? And with the damning evidence that the Blackwood company is somehow entangled with Fighters Guild contracts, why isn't the champion of the Fighters Guild, Modron, willing to talk about it? Something is amiss, and soon we'll find out why. To begin the quest, more unfinished business, we find the Fighters Guild champion Modron Orain in Coral's Hall, mid-meal at the dining table, and he looks up to question.
Go ahead.
Modron?
You again. Fine. I imagine you're looking for work from me.
Duties, work, potato.
I'm going to need you to find Maglir again. The little fetcher.
Little fetcher's right. I'm sorry, did you say Maglir?
That's right. The little vermin has defaulted on another contract. I need you to go babysit him again.
Defaulted again? What, did he decide it was tavern time halfway through the job?
Wish I knew what happened. He had a contract for a local mage in Braville. Didn't seem like a particularly difficult assignment. He hasn't reported to the client at all. Get yourself down to Braville and find Maglir. Make sure that contract of his gets done, and send him to me.
I'm sorry, I can't focus. Are you saying Maglir or Maglir? Are you gonna pick one? And isn't it Braville? Why are you saying Braville? I'm so confused.
You'll need to track down Maglir. Again. Look for him in Braville. Now go.
Looking at the Dunmer, we think to ourselves, man, Modron's really enjoying that potato. He actually looks to be eating his feelings.
Stop staring at me. Let's get to work.
And we soon hear why from the rumours around the guild, as Maglir's truancy reflects poorly on the organisation as a whole.
Don't tell me Maglir is acting up again. Has he screwed up another contract? If a guild fighter defaults on a contract, he's out. We won't compete with Blackwood Company by defaulting on our contracts. Everyone needs to buckle down and get the work done. And Valena needs to get out and push guild contracts. Things are falling apart here. Someone needs to do something about the Blackwood Company situation.
Snapped out of our momentary trance, we note in our journal as we depart the Coral Fighters Guild, Modron Orain has told me to go to Braville and find out why Maglir has defaulted on another contract. Inside the gates of the swampy city of Braville, we head down the main thoroughfare and see near the gate to the castle the familiar emblem of the Fighters Guild, bearing crossed swords and shield, and enter the local chapter.
How are you?
Great.
Once inside, we seek out the nearest member, a Khajiit named Nasi, and she turns to greet.
Nazi, your humble servant and humble servant of the Nine. I offer training in the martial arts of hand-to-hand fighting.
Hello, Nasi. It's my first time in the Fighters Guild in Braville. How do you find it?
The Fighters Guild is good enough to encourage me in sharing the inner peace and spiritual harmony of the martial arts.
Nice. Have you, seen a little Bosma? He likes to shirk his duties, named Maglir. Or Maglia, sorry, I'm a little confused.
Maglier? I think I've seen him. Try in the Lonely Suitor Lodge. Good day.
Should you need something, I will be happy to oblige.
As a quick aside, the Breville Fighters Guild, despite being sizable, is sadly non-functional compared to other guild halls, only boasting a paltry 2 members with unique dialogue. The first we've met. The other is Tadros Hellas, a dark elf smith, who greets,
How do you do? I'm Tadros Hellas, smith of the Breville Fighters Guild chapter and trainer for armorers. There's a lot of adventuring action from here south to Blackwood, and everyone comes to me with their gear.
And the hall, despite its impressive scale, holds no contracts of its own. Apparently near deserted thanks to the Blackwood Company moving into the area. Exiting the guild hall once more, our quest updates. I've been told that Maglia can be found in the tavern at the Lonely Suitor Lodge. Heading over to the southern section of the city, over the rickety wooden swing bridge, we find the standalone Lonely Suitor's Lodge by the southwestern wall. Once inside, we see the inn staff, and a quick look to our right, we also spy a few Blackwood Company members. As they've told us their ranks are only filled with beast folk, though the Khajiit on the right looks like the runt of the litter. Heading to the publican, the orc Bogram Gro Golash, he welcomes.
I'm Bogram Gro Golash, your host at the Lonely Suitor Lodge. It may not look like much outside, but that's just the weathered Breville look.
Yeah, that's alright. It's just like the rest of Breville. No offense. Say, have you seen a little Bosma around?
I think he's around here somewhere. Good day.
Looking to the right of the counter, we think. Well, it's just the... Wait. They've let a non-beast folk member in. That's... Approaching the diminutive deserter, he appraises.
Oh, look. You again. You again. I imagine I know why you're here, Guild Rat.
Well. I knew the Blackwood Company only recruited beast folk, so this is on brand. Because you're the biggest pussy I've ever seen, defaulting not once, but twice.
Defaulted? That all you talk about? I'm Blackwood Company now. Plenty of work, the pay is good, and I don't have Orain on my back all the time.
Now, this is actually a really cool little tidbit, and it's where the quest kind of diverges thanks to previous dialogue. See, in the original quest, Unfinished Business, if we ratted out Maglia for defaulting the first time to Modron Orain, and then exclaimed, "The job needs to be completed," he says.
Oh? I know you're the one who ratted me out to Orain about that other contract. Go back to Orain. Give him my regards. We're done talking.
And he'll talk to us no further. However, if we had covered for Maglia, this one piece of dialogue would switch and it would help further the quest for us. And we say, Maglia, the job still needs to be completed.
Look, I know that you covered for me before, so I'll give you this one. Talk to Ariari at the Mages Guild for the job. After this, we're done.
Now, the Ariari comment would help us move straight to the next part of the quest, but for now we're going to play it as if we hadn't heard that because there is more dialogue to explore. And Modron's pissed, such as, if we tell Maglia, "I thought you were just lazy and liked a good drink. So do I. Now I know you're just without honor."
Honor, huh? I prefer feeding my family. I figure I owe you one for covering for me, so I'll let you leave. Get moving before I forget myself.
His Argonian Blackwood Company pal, Jeet then greets.
Yes?
You've taken in Maglia. You must be pretty proud of yourself.
Be seeing you.
That sounds more like a warning than a genuine farewell. Forced to exit the Lonely Suitor Lodge, empty-handed and the contract still defaulted on, we note. Maglia tells me that he's no longer a member of the Fighters Guild. He's tired of trying to scrounge up work, so he joined the Blackwood Company. Mid-contract, no less. Seeking out Orain back at the Coral Guild Hall, and he questions.
What's the story on Maglia and his contract? Yes? I assume you've spoken to that lout Maglia.
Yeah. I spoke to him during one of his tavern time sessions. Look, he's not gonna complete that contract.
He's what? That little lump of guar dung. You get back to Braville and take care of that contract. I need to think about this.
There's another thing you're not going to enjoy. He may have joined the Blackwood Company.
The little bastard! We took him in when no one else would. This is how he repays us? Talk to Ari in Braville. She's our client. Do the job.
A little worried about Orain. He sees us stare for a tad too long in shoes.
Stop staring at me. Let's get to work.
Our quest then updates. Orain says I should speak with Ari in the Braville Mages Guild in order to get the details needed to complete Magley's contract. Returning to Braville at twilight, we see next to the Great Chapel the Mages Guild, which, funnily enough, bears no markings as other guilds do around Cyrodiil.
How does the day greet you, friend?
I'm glad Mars lives here in Braville.
Hi.
I can't make up my mind about the prophet in Anvil. Is
No
he truly
more
a holy
delays,
man, or just a
please.
new...
It's about time someone from the Fighters Guild showed up. I've got work for you to do. I need imp gall for my research.
Imp gall? Nasty creatures. How much do you need?
I need imp gall for my studies. 10 portions of it, in fact. Since I hired the Fighters Guild, I expect you to get it done. And carefully, please. You might check Robbers Glen Cave for the imp gall. That place has been known to contain the imps.
Tell me something. I've seen the Blackwood Company around these parts. Why didn't you contract them?
I just don't trust them. I know they're efficient, a bit too efficient for my liking. Some endeavors demand time and care.
Good to know. You seem pretty switched on to the local goings-on.
Braville, good points, cheap to live, unpretentious, freewheeling. Bad points, culturally a hole. Count's a clown and his son's a skooma sucker. I'll be waiting right
Good day.
here.
Good day.
A video about the Count's skooma-sucking son and how the illicit substance is muled around Cyrodiil will be linked at the end of this video. Sent off on our task, we quickly note. Ari at the Mages Guild has told me she's glad someone from the Fighters Guild is going to fulfill her contract. She was unwilling to hire the Blackwood Company as she disliked their reputation. She would like me to find 10 portions of imp gall and suggests Robbers Glen Cave might be a good spot to hunt for it. Still, it's hard to believe Magley had defaulted over a couple of lousy imps, if I may be honest. Imps were a blight in, say, the first dungeon of Daggerfall, but in Oblivion, they're more of a nuisance to encounter. Speaking of unexpected encounters, here's where things get fun, as we can explore my favourite dark way of collecting an imp gall, if we have the gall, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Regarding a few ways to collect the alchemical ingredient, thankfully the unofficial wiki boasts a thorough article highlighting the varying levels of likelihood of encountering imps and the levels required. However, the most straightforward way is, as expected, to visit Robbers Glen Cave as directed by Ari, located north of Braville on the Green Road. As it is one of the few places in the game where imps are always guaranteed to appear, you'll find 12 imps in the cave, making it straightforward to fill the mage's request. As a monster dungeon, it also has good quality treasure and is worth exploring regardless. Outside of Robbers Glen Cave, there are 4 respawning imps always appearing in Sideways Cave, Also of note, if you've purchased the Wizard's Tower official download or Knights of the Nine, there are 7 respawning Vault Guardians in the vault. And it's handy to remember this, as official DLC will be mentioned in the Mages Guild, as it boasts a little cheat for players in a later quest. But back on the topic of Imp Gaul, there are other single samples like in Farthest Arin's Tower, who we visited during the Thieves Guild questline, linked at the end of this video, as we beat the Dark Elf in an unlikely running race. Or even one sample is in the Archmage's quarters in the Arcane University, proving that mages favour the disgusting slime. And let's not forget random vendors and monster encounters.
What's going on? Hey, come on now. There's no need to get violent. Do your worst.
However, I promised you something diabolical, so here it is. If you visited the guild halls, you may remember Thorin, a wood elf mage and journeyman of the Mages Guild, who sells spells at the local Anvil Guild Hall. Well, Thorin uniquely has a pet imp named Sparky, and I think you can see where I'm going with this. Although Sparky follows Thorin all day, so it's hard to get a clean hit on the fiend without being detected. Sadly, if Thorin dies, the loyal Sparky will remain floating in place. Alternatively, attacking or killing Sparky is not deemed a crime. However, somewhat oddly, the Daedra is deemed a Mages Guild member, so attacking it while you're a member will cause you to be expelled. Despite being a Daedra, that's some nasty work killing his pet. With the goal to collect the ghoul and our inventory full, our quest updates. I found 10 portions of Imp Ghoul. I should bring them to Ariari. Returning to Ariari, she questions.
Well, have you found that Imp Gaul for me yet? I've got some research I need to get to.
Here's a nice stinky puddle for you to study. Happy?
You've got it. Looks fresh, too. I realize you'll be paid by your superior, but take this as well. It might come in handy in your work. Next time, I'm glad Mars lives here in Breville.
The shield ring she rewards is actually decent, imparting 12% shield on self and worth a tidy 1,210 gold. More than enough to make this venture worthwhile, and Maglia's defaulting questionable at best. Returning to Orain at Coral.
I see.
Greetings.
What's the news from the...
We report.
What's the story on Maglia and his contract? What is it? Shouldn't you be taking care of Maglia's contract?
It's official. Maglia's Blackwood. Breville's guild hall is empty, but the contract's complete, though.
I can't believe we lost another to that bunch. Well done taking care of the contract, though. We can't afford to lose any of them these days. Here's your payment for completion of the contract. I think it's time for us to discuss the Blackwood Company a bit.
I'm sorry to break the immersion, but did the writers really just add the line, talk about Blackwood Company? They didn't really give us much to go off in Oblivion, say, compared to Fallout. But let's see if I can make the line work with my dopey recruit who questions. Talk about Blackwood Company?
They weren't always a threat. Small-scale mercenary band, until Riza Kar took over. Then came the fat Imperial contracts. After a mission in Blackmarsh, they set up shop in Leowin, more ruthless than ever. It needs investigating. First, though, you need advancement.
You're right. I need advancement.
Your service to the guild has not gone unnoticed. Henceforth, you will carry the rank of Defender. Bear the title proudly.
Looking at Orain's bright red eyes, we enjoy the moment as the newest Defender of the guild a little too long before he interrupts.
You're staring at me again.
Exiting the guild hall, our mind is abuzz with questions. Why would Maglia desert the Fighters Guild? How much better does the Blackwood Company pay? And are their conditions so good that he was willing to forsake his honor in the process? Although we feel soon we'll find out.